Warning, the following podcast has extremely high levels of Kenny Bolin. Studies have shown that excessive exposure to Kenny Bolin may have damaging effects to your physical and mental well-being. Viewer discretion is advised. No, seriously, we mean it. There will be naughty words, lots of them, probably. Now you've been warned. This warning sponsored by the Story Time with Dutch Mantel.
No, it's no longer sponsored by the Storytime with Dutch Mantel. And that's it, folks. Thanks for coming by. Between the introduction and that disclaimer, we used up all the time we had for tonight.
No.
Hi, Kenny. I didn't see you standing there.
I can't believe I can't teach you these things. Rain delay, Bob. Run the copyright disclaimer.
The copyright. Well, you know what? The intro does say copyright there on that.
Oh, does it? Well, let's run it again.
We'll run this.
As with Bugs Bunny, let's batten down the hatches. Well, we did batten them down. Let's batten them down again.
All right, fine.
All right, here we go.
This audio-visual presentation is copyrighted 2025 by Kenneth W. Bolin. No rebroadcast, retransmission, simulcast, or other distribution of this video or the audio associated with it is permitted without the express written permission of Kenneth W. Bolin, and that even includes the flub-ups.
Yeah, there we go.
Not that we ever have any flub-ups in our pre-recorded stuff.
Somebody's alarm didn't go off in time tonight, did it?
Someone's alarm did go off in time, but I was doing something else. And
well, God forbid.
Hey, I got here before this show actually went on the air. So.
Yeah, I told him in the pregame. I told him in the pregame show is that you were still stinging from Ellie Della Bolin from last night.
Yeah, I'm not stinging from today's game though. So let's just.
Well, you motherfucker! I haven't watched the day. You bitch.
Well, you should. That's what I was doing.
God damn it, Bob!
Wait. Yesterday's game was a spanking. We could have lost and still not have been so bad.
No, you're too fucking happy. Now you've ruined my.
Yes.
God.
All right, that is now the show is over. Okay.
Bitch.
All right, since the show's over, Coltrane, welcome to the show. Say goodbye to everyone tonight.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Thank
night.
you. God bless. Good night.
All right. Enough joking. We do have special guests tonight, so we don't want to keep them waiting in the green room too long.
Well,
otherwise, they'll eat all the good snacks.
Yeah, they were here before y'all were.
Yes,
well, see, not all the snacks are gone then, I'm sure.
See, they thought we run a professional organization over here. We showed their ass.
But I was here.
Right. Can't tell King the game's early. Whatever. It's hours old. Hours by now. Well, almost. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest. We have two special guests tonight. Not only do we have Kenny's protege, one of many proteges.
Oh, Jesus.
Rico, the stylist Costantino. But we have a special first-time guest, Rico's co-host and partner in crime.
Hang on. Allow me to interrupt you a second.
Okay.
Make sure you get this shit right.
I will.
We went through a record 7 memes to make this motherfucker happy.
I know. Some people are never satisfied.
7 memes that we went through. So whatever we do, let's get the introduction right.
So here we go. Rico, the stylist Costantino.
There he is.
Not Costantino. Get that right.
Head horse.
And the Master Emir.
That's right. Thank you very much for that introduction, Bob. Thank you for that, Kenny. Much appreciated.
And the record 7 memes that we went through in 4 days.
Now I'm going to talk to Bob. Bob, do you know the difference between Constantino and Costantino?
There is a difference.
Yes, there's not an N in Costantino.
No, one's Greek,
Besides
which is
that,
Constantino. Okay, and I'm Sicilian. That's Costantino. So I'll put it simple for you. I am mozzarella cheese, and that's feta cheese.
There you go. Well, I will say this: like, there's a cost to messing with you, and it's constant if they're not doing it right.
Well, then that's the only time there's an end. Constant.
Again, the sound came through my surround sound on my television. That is twice.
Why
it's
is
done
that?
I know. Well, I'm going to turn the damn TV off.
Come here. Sit.
Maybe if the TV's off.
Train, it's nice to meet you, sir. You look very stylish up there.
Thank you.
Competing
Nice
with
to meet
Rico?
you.
Yeah,
I'm
dressed
the only
nice.
stylist. They got a style, right?
He usually shows up in like a cut-up T-shirt and
Brooklyn Brawl.
Normally a wife. He's normally let's get it right. He normally shows up in a wife beater because he's normally just got done beating his wife.
Oh,
Then he shows up.
Get my ass whooped.
Well,
I'm sorry.
A wife BD shirt. A wife BD.
There you
go.
go.
Because he's getting beat. Okay.
Yeah,
Train, I got to ask: is there? I hope you paid the power bill because that shirt looks like it's plugged in.
Man, I'm telling you what, I feel electric tonight. You have to prepay those power bills in Phoenix.
He just, he was thinking of going to Vegas where you used to hang out, and he wanted to blend in. So
right.
We have 120. We have 122 if you're watching the show right now. Now, are we still members only, or did you?
We are still members only. Yes.
Do you want to?
We're going to change that. We're going to open it up to. We're going to open it up to let some of the.
I got an appeal from the governor that wanted to make this available to the marks that haven't bought a membership.
All right, we'll do something there.
Andy Bashir, the governor of Kentucky, says king because that's what he calls me, and he says the marks want to get in tonight. Yeah, I said, all right, we'll work with them. So Mishy Mike has his membership and a new background, by the way, on his Facebook Messenger. Many of you have. Rico, did you like your new Facebook Messenger background?
Yeah.
Oh,
looks
okay.
good.
Yes. I thought he was getting ready to say what.
Am I going to the air show this weekend in Nellis? Michigan Mike, update you. The stylist has relocated, and I am now outside Prescott, and I'm closer to the train.
That's right.
He's about an hour and a half, 2 hours from me, but I got a GT Mustang, so he maybe be 40 minutes.
Now, if y'all were going to meet in the middle, if you and Train were going to meet in the middle, and I don't mean sexually, if y'all were going to meet in the middle, what city would y'all have to go to have lunch?
Probably be like Northern Phoenix, wouldn't it?
Probably.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
Northern Phoenix would do that? Okay. Well, that seems like it would be a good city.
He would.
Well, Dr. Bill Irwin apparently only shows up when we play the theme music. Is the theme music the only reason you're here tonight, Dr. Bill Irwin?
Or to cause trouble.
That is a nice.
Yeah, I just saw that comment. Oh my God! Who's hostile here? I'm supposed to be the hostile one here. Dr. Irwin looks to be a little hostile.
Well, what happens? We say hostile takeover.
No, it's when the Master Emir rejected the first 6 memes is when it got hostile.
Yeah, that's when it first started, Rico.
Bob was like, we don't even have to have him on the show. I said, calm down, Bob. Calm down.
Yeah, we had to go through some red tape there, Rico. They forgot to add the master in front of my name, so we went back.
At least I spelled it right, unlike Kenny, who spells it with an A.
So I noticed that.
Hey, I didn't spell your all's names wrong. Spell check said you all spelled your names wrong.
There you go.
As in Constantino. Hell, I think I called Rico Constantino for about 5 years.
Yeah, but it's your dad. You're my dad. Why am I going to correct you?
I have the right to change the spelling, I would think. There's three wrestlers. Well, here's a trivia question. 3 wrestlers on OVW television referred to me as dad. What 3 wrestlers did that? Rico obviously was the first. There were 2 after him.
Aaron Idol.
Randy Orton.
Aaron Idol.
I only wish Randy Orton had called me dad so I could throw that in his dad's face. No, not Randy Orton.
Come here, Orton.
Was it Aaron Idol?
All 3 were in the WWE for a good period of time. Aaron the Idol, I don't think ever did. Certainly not on television.
Oh, you mean
we just called him Shoot BS because he lived with me for so long. So he was shooting services.
Kenny, you didn't manage Nick Nemeth, all right?
I did not manage. Nemeth traveled up and down the roads with me quite a bit, but I did not officially manage Nick that I can recall. If it was like a spot show here.
Brock, was it Brock?
Brock would not call Kenny Dad. He would call him lots of things.
And he was never in OVW. So, Dr. Bill Irwin, that is an automatic $10 donation from you, or we're going to say goodbye.
Trying to be funny.
Yeah, don't try to be funny when you're not funny.
Comedy's
hard.
What years, Kenny?
Comedy's hard, unlike your sexual organ.
Boom.
Yeah.
So it would have been like 2000, 2002, right? Somewhere in that range.
Even a little later in one of the cases. Because when this guy did it, it shocked me. He did it on the opening of his entrance, because I wasn't even officially managing him that night. I was doing commentary. I was assigned to be his manager, but that night I was doing TV commentary. He did a promo and addressed me at the desk and called me this. So,
well, I guess imitation's the best form of flattery.
I guess we're up to 173 in the house right now. We're getting ready to announce what we're raising money for tonight, because we do have 3 or 4 that are in serious need of some help. And Randy the Macho Man, we have a challenge here already. I was getting ready to announce everybody that's needing help. I've been sending Bob the screenshots, because Bob gets a couple of people that write him and tell him what they need. So just to punish Bob, I'm going to start sending him every letter I get, because it's kind of what we do here, though. Today has been a busy day of requests. That's for damn sure. Randy Satterley is issuing a $35 challenge, because Randy, as a matter of fact, was in my home. I don't know if we have the pictures or not. Randy came here.
Oh, is that where
Randy came here along with my nephew Matthew. They had purchased some pictures and came by and said, "Hey, pose for a couple of pictures." And then Randy found out some of the people that were needing the help, and he says, "Hey, let me kick off the show. It would be an honor to issue a challenge." I didn't know how much, and he's doing a $35 challenge to help us couple of families that need medicine. J9E is very low on food. She wrote me with crying faces saying that her and her brother have not had much to eat the last 3 days. I said, "Well, do me a favor, quit waiting for 3 days of hunger to tell me." I get a little chippy with them sometimes, because we can't help you if we don't know. And it also helps to know in advance. We got a young lady that's needing some gasoline for her motorcycle. She needs a calculator. She's in college. She needs a big calculator. And there was one other need she had. God, Bob, do you remember the totals of everything that she needs?
It was right at 1,800 pesos, or about $36.
About 1,800, so about $36, give or take, to get everything that she needs. And she is in college, trying to improve herself. So oh my God, there's that pony. Somebody lasso that son of a bitch and ride him out of there.
There he is, right there. Come here.
I thought my green was big, but mine's half Great Dane.
This is 100% Great Dane. And his name is Odin. He's 2 years old, and I rescued him about 2 weeks ago from the local pound.
Well, I'm glad you did that.
He was about to go down, and I can't take that. In fact, he's one of 3 that we have rescued, and even my horse that I'm now doing cowboy mounted shooting on is a rescue. So this is Odin. Say hi.
Hey, Odin.
Now, did he have the name Odin, or did you give that to him?
No, he had a stupid name, and I didn't like it.
Frank.
His brother's Champ.
What was the stupid name? Champ? Yeah. See, Scooby, when he came here, his name was Tyson. So I named him Tyson Two Paw, so I would have a 2 cow. And then we took a vote, and like 84% of the fans said Scooby. He's Scooby. Tyson.
What breed of dogs do you have, Kenny?
I have a Scooby, who is Great Dane, half Great Dane, half Ridgeback. 2 cow is, I just found out recently from an expert of Labradors that was in the neighborhood, says 2 cow is half Labrador, half Ridgeback, which I did not know. But they showed me pictures of others. I said, well, fuck, that looks dead like 2 cow. And then we have the lovely Choco, who celebrates the same birthday as me and my son, March the 16th. And Choco is a lab pit mix. And they all are scheduled to go to the vet in 3 days to get all their vaccination shots, desperately need their nails done. And I just ride that one to the vet and just say, oh,
there you go.
Put him to the hitching post and wait for his turn to be called. And Rico, I got a movie I want you to see. Bill Murray is in a movie. to where he
Yeah.
basically plays a dead guy. And he says that dog, who is a big ass white Great Dane, he said, it might be the smartest individual I've ever met. And he included the elephant in Dumbo Drop. He said the elephant in Dumbo Drop is smarter than any human I've ever known. The second smartest is this dog I just got done working with. The dog knows how to do emotion on command. You would tell the dog that he's sad. Oh my God. But he says, I've worked with a lot of animals. He said, but this, so with you having a Great Dane and me having Scooby, I am definitely checking out that movie with Bill Murray. I forgot the name of it. Happiness. It's like
I just got him. He knows how to
say. How did you find out about him? How did you find it? Because now you've touched my heart when we rescue dogs.
Well, when I got here to Prescott area, it got word of mouth. And I was headed to NYC for the big expo to do a convention. And I heard that this dog was going to be, euthanized. And I went, oh Lord,
yeah.
So I had my people
put that dog down. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
Well, the owner got arrested, and from what I found out, because I don't want any repercussions. And I don't want trouble. I asked the people, is this guy getting out anytime soon? Do I have to worry about him coming to claim his dog? And the clerk couldn't tell me, but she said, no, he's going to go away for a long time. So I think it's something with drugs or maybe a manslaughter or something that is very serious. So yes, I know. He's talking.
What a baby.
So, but he's very smart. And he thinks he's a lap dog. He thinks he's a chihuahua.
Don't you love it when 180-pound dogs think they're lap dogs?
He's going to be 175, 180, the vet said. He's 120 now, and he was underfed.
Oh, my God, yeah.
He was underfed, had bones on the hip. His backbone was showing, Yeah.
I mean, and those dogs need a lot of food because Scooby, he only weighs like 80 pounds. And he eats like a horse. He eats and anything. The great thing about it, I try to lower carbs and stuff like that. So if I have any extra breading or any on the days that I reward myself with that, Scooby gets all the high carb shit, because he's the human consumption. But yesterday I left the lid of the dog food container open, which I never do. And I went back into the kitchen. I went back into the kitchen late last night and noticed that my 30 pounds of dog food was down to about 20.
Oh, wow.
And
diarrhea happening after that.
It's Scooby and Coco are not hungry.
He eats 5 scoops of dry, half a can of wet with vitamins in it. And that's one meal. He eats that twice a day.
Yeah.
And, Kenny, check your PayPal.
I was about to announce the donations coming in because Randy, the Macho Man Satterley, who was in my home, issued a $35 challenge. Y'all ain't going to believe the first person to accept the challenge. And Rico, the sad thing is, I think you know this guy. Somebody named Americo COS, not Rico. Americo Costantino. Is he a distant relative, this Americo Costantino guy?
I tell you what,
he's a relative. Yeah,
he's a relative. He's definitely a blood relative. And Americo Costantino has matched the $35 challenge. And I want to tell you right now, if we had a measly 4 of you out there that did that tonight, that would go a long way in covering everything we're trying to cover tonight. Now, there's one thing I'm not going to be able to cover. One of my kids that's in college, Honey Rose, we love Honey Rose to death. Honey Rose gave me 2 days notice that she wanted to do a tour with her college. This is her senior year, and they're doing a tour to where all the kids in the Manila area go on this like 1 week, 7-day tour. And I said, well, how much does it cost? Because the last one she did was like 6,000 pesos, $120. We raised the money on the show so she could do it at grade. Well, this one, 13,000 pesos. So her father did a collection in the neighborhood because we could. Yeah, we could not touch 13,000 pesos. That is
about $260.
$250, give or take. Right around. I don't know where the peso's at today, but it's close enough. Boy. But her parents.
Yeah, he's a daddy's boy.
Yeah,
he's a daddy's boy.
That's my Australian or my border collie. I'll
I
wake
might
up face to face every
here 'cause
time.
my mouse
Oh,
is
yeah.
I've
Hey,
got stood
Rico.
up spring I've never
Rico.
seen.
Speaking of prison, I had this conversation today. Are you guys familiar with the actor Danny Masterson? He was on the ranch. He was in. Yeah, you know him,
Yeah.
Bob? You've heard of him?
I know the name. Yeah, I would I know the name, and if I saw the picture, I'm sure I would recognize him.
It was the guy with the white fro on that 70s show.
That 70s
Oh, yeah,
show,
yeah.
right? Yeah, I was interested to find out. Rico, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison for well, they say he raped 2 women, he drugged them and raped them, but there's some conjecture in that. But
He did
30
he did a Bill Cosby.
yeah, but 30 years is
Actually, it
that,
sounds more like you did a Donald Trump, but go
30
ahead.
years to life. Actually, 30
Yeah.
is the minimum.
yeah. I mean, I was shocked when I learned of this, and I was just like, obviously, Rico, you were in law. I mean, 30 years is
Yeah.
that customary for something like that? I mean,
Well, all depends if it's a city, county, state, or federal.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
30 years. Okay, the federal system does not give out years; they give out months. To quantify that for everybody, an ex-felon possession of a firearm is 120 months, which is a 10-year term minimum
Ooh.
if they're caught with a firearm. So
Yeah.
they give it out in months, and they have good behavior. But the federal government does not. They abolish parole, so you will serve that
man.
in the federal government. But like I said, you get 52 days if you're good. If you take a trade in prison and you better yourself, it knocks down the sentence. And then after you get off a federal prison stint, you're put on what's called supervised release. And let's say for the sex offender has to register all the time. That's it. That's state or federal. You are now labeled. But let's just say the felon. He gets out of jail and he will do a 5-year stint of supervised release where he has to report to an officer. Has to have a job, can't do drugs, some can't drink, and they could do 4 years, 9 months and be perfect. And they mess up 1 month, they go back to prison for the whole 5 years.
Oh,
okay.
That's in
Wow.
the federal system. Now, in the state
This is
system, they
Los
still
Angeles.
have
This is
parole.
Los Angeles County in this case.
Yeah.
Okay, well, when you said years, that sounds like the county sentenced him. So he will go in there, he'll do his time. If he's good, he'll go before parole boards and stuff like that, and then they will judge. You know, if he's good inside and all that stuff, they could take years off. They could take 10 years off and say credit time served. But he'll be on parole and probation, and as a sexual offender, he'll have to register for the rest of his life. So he's going to be on the radar for the rest of his life.
So the extenuating factors here. This was about 20 years ago that this happened, but the women were pressured not to report it by the Church of Scientology. So I think the 30 years kind of the rape is horrific, involved. But the fact that they were also this organized effort to prevent them from reporting it added to the severity, and that's why the sentencing is so heavy. But you know, it's what he did.
I'm so mixed feelings with this. You know, you not that you made a mistake, but they had to prove that there was drugs involved and all that, and I got to leave that to the justice system.
Seems reasonable.
Okay, but you know, there's got to be a statute of limitations on everything except murder. You know, you can't come back 40 years later and say, "Oh, he raped me," and then now there's you know, especially with any superstar, celebrity, or somebody in a position. You know, it's just it seems to be happening a lot more. And then some of them, you know, and I said this when the Vince McMahon stuff came out. You know, these, you know, what he did was deplorable. And as a person, I don't like him, but as a professional and what he did for wrestling and WWE, that's two different people.
Two different categories.
Yeah. And I have that opinion with a lot of folks. our current president has won. But the professional side and the personal side are two different things. So if they get caught, they gotta pay. But there's 40 years later, and now you decide to come up, and I'm going to get back to the Vince McMahon stuff. These women were paid well to shut up, and they didn't. Well, wait a minute. You can't have both ways, cake, eat it too. If you got paid, shut the fuck up. Now, if you didn't get paid and all this stuff, then okay, speak up.
Well, it's very similar. It's very similar to the 12 children that settled out of court. The 12 children and their family settled out of court with Trump between the 70s and the 90s. The list has been released a few times. That the names on that list never ever change. We dispute this. It never happened. Well, that's why they were paid, is to pretend that it never happened. But Maya's got the list. I've had it a couple of times. The names and ages of these children never change. And a lot of it was in the Fred Trump era, when Fred was getting his son out of all this trouble. If you've watched the movie The Apprentice, I have. That was back when Trump raped his first wife. What's an accusation? Well, his wife made the accusation. Guess what? They paid her to shut the fuck up and make the charge go away. They paid those 12 kids.
Give me 1 second, King. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
So the kids didn't settle shit. The parents did. The parents are the ones that put a price on their children. So now if the children want to do something once they get older, I think it's a goddamn shame that parents can put a dollar amount on what happened to their kids. I don't have the capability to do that. If it was my son, or if I had a daughter that was put through that, there's no way in hell. So I think if the kids want to,
you can't put a price on flesh.
No, you can't.
You cannot put a price on flesh.
No, exactly. So I'm going to have to kick out of here in a little bit, but I do have 2 challenges, at least 2. Let me check. 2 of the challenges have been accepted, and I need to announce that. But my computer, my mouse is not working, so I can't do anything with comments. I've got emojis popped up on my screen I can't get rid of, so I got to reset my damn computer. But here we go. My good buddy Michigan Mike, who I created a new background for recently. I hope he liked it. Michigan Mike has matched the Randy Macho Man Satterley challenge and matched the Rico America. I think that was Rico, though. I think he's got a hidden identity. And he matched the $35
he must be a magician. I didn't see him do anything, so I don't know how that happened.
That's the Greek.
I was on camera. Hey,
I don't know. I was well. You bring up a good point, Master. You bring up a good point. I didn't see him do
Has
shit.
anyone ever seen Rico and Americo in the same room at the same time?
Never. I've known him a long time. I've never seen the 2 in the room at the same time. So Michael Ryder has matched that $35 donation. And then our sweet friend from a long, long time of watching this show, Jazzy Jana from Louisiana, has matched the $35 challenge. So we have Jazzy Jana, Michael Ryder, Randy Macho Man Satterley, and Rico, all with $35 challenges.
Who's I didn't do nothing. Americo did it.
Well, I think you motivated him to do it. I think you motivated him to do it. Yeah. I don't know how you did it. I think you texted with your toes, which I can't even do.
Mind trick.
I think Odin texted him.
See, I would be Odin's the one that donated for the first timers here, but
fingers are big enough.
So I'm probably going to be out of here for a little bit because it takes this iMac a little while to reset, and I had to do it the other day because
shitty iMac.
Yeah, my mouth.
Yeah, you know what? What's the title of the show? Hostile Takeover. I sent you a virus.
Yeah, well, I think Hacker.
You take care of everything. Get the hell out of here. Me, Train, and Bob and the Master will take over.
No, you teamed up with Ben Hameen, and he's hacked into my system. Here's what he's done. Hacker Hameen has gotten me.
You're talking to the stylist, baby.
Yeah, and
that's it, brother.
Hang on here. There was one other thing I had
so hard. Oh,
I don't know about that.
It's getting warm in here.
There it goes.
Yeah, let the takeover commence. I believe it's about to here pretty soon.
Okay.
Oh, is it getting warm in there? It's getting warm.
It's getting warm.
Getting hot here.
Getting hot.
Getting heated now.
So there's
So why don't you
100.
reset your computer there, Dad?
But
We'll
we
see
do
in
have
a
a lot of
little
people to help, and those of you that $35 ain't going to make a big difference to. You don't want to know the money that Bob and I have shipped out because we haven't done a show since last Thursday, and it's now Tuesday, and a lot of requests have come in since last Thursday, and a lot of those people couldn't wait. Another family I really desperately want to help is you know the little girl that was going around selling the peanut butter, Bob? Ying, I think is her name. She's 10 years old, 10 or 11. She's in the 5th or 6th grade, and she goes around door to door in the Philippines selling peanut butter. Well, peanut butter has at least protein in it, and she was selling 3 jars for 480 pesos. And Eunice says, "Can we buy this peanut butter to help her out?" I said, "Well, you all need peanut butter. She needs to sell peanut butter. Yeah, let's do that." So 480 pesos. It's about $9 for 3 jars of peanut butter. And I said, "Well, how much does she make?" And she says, 20 pesos per jar. I said, "Okay, well, 20, 40, 60. She's making $1. So I said, "Well, let's buy 6 jars." Now y'all got plenty of peanut butter. There's 6 jars of peanut butter there. She makes 60 pesos, so 120 pesos. But do me a favor. I'm going to send you an extra 400 pesos so we can get her to 500 pesos. And now she earned about $10 coming to your house alone. And I said, "Does she have any brothers and sisters?" "Yes." "How many?" 8.
Damn.
Kid. She misses school a lot because she goes around door to door selling peanut butter or whatever the fuck they can find to sell, or whatever little stores around there have shit she can sell to help her make a little money. So they try to put a little food on the table each day. Her name is
Mom is
Ying.
blind.
I've sent Bob a couple of pictures of her.
Yeah.
The
mom is blind and the dad is
blind,
crippled or disabled, something.
The dad does some type of little taxi service there, which means they ride the tricycle around. Those don't pay worth a shit either. And I know that 2 kilograms of rice is a big deal to that family. There's 8 of them. I also got a picture of their house. Big goddamn hole in the ceiling. The house is very small. They don't have any beds. They sleep on tarps. I found out today that we can get full-size mattresses over there for 380 pesos each. And if we buy more than one, we can get them for 350 pesos each. I don't want the kids sleeping on tarps or the adults.
40 bucks?
Well, let's see. Let's just say the mattresses are 500 pesos because we want to get them pillows and a blanket with it. So let's say 500 pesos each mattress. There's 8 kids. 5 8s are. Help me with the math, Bob.
So
that's
5 to 8 would be 4,000. It'd be about $80.
We can put 2 kids per mattress, but the adults are going to need a mattress too.
So we need.
And we can't repair the entire house, but we can put a fucking tarp on it because there's a giant hole in the kitchen, or what they call the kitchen, and there's a big giant hole in it. I think I sent Bob pictures of that too, and that is a separate project. Where I'd like to get these kids. I want that family a 50-kilogram bag of rice. That is going to be about $50 for that bag of rice alone. And this is a separate project on everything else we're working on. And Eunice says she thinks the kids have worms. She says that they got big pot bellies, and a lot of kids don't look right. That poor little 10-year-old's got the face of a 25, 30-year-old because she works
tapeworms. Tapeworms?
I don't know, Rico.
Yeah.
I don't know enough. I haven't personally seen the kids
I'm just
yet.
asking.
I'm going by what Eunice is telling me, but this family needs some help. And I want to make them a separate project for those that have the money to do it. If you don't, I understand. But for those of us that have got, and I get paid Friday, I know at least $35. Well, shit. Who am I joking? I know more than $35 of my money's going there. Supposedly I get my bonus this weekend. Keep hearing that. So the boss cards, for those of you that are buying autograph pictures from us, stuff like that, Bob was kind enough to get these credit card versions of the boss card. I know they're going to be hard
upside
to
down.
see. Oh, is it upside down? Yeah, it is. There we go. But those are the boss. These are credit card versions.
Little plastic cards.
Yeah, they're made out of credit cards. They're plastic. Nice. And so anybody that orders anything from us in the future, you're going to be getting your official boss card. It is signed by me on the back. And Bob did this on his own. He had these created and made. They came to my door today. And we're going to be giving these out to those of you that order your autograph pictures, to where you have your basically a credit card that makes you an official BOSS.
It's like a credit card, only you get to give us money.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
exactly.
All right,
And,
Kenny, reboot that
Just
computer and we'll
consider
come
it a
back and talk
payment.
about the
Monthly
Yeah, let me
payment.
reboot it. Y'all have some fun for a little bit without me, just like in sex. Y'all have fun without me. I'll be back later.
Kenny.
Let me reboot this. Kick me out.
Oh, King, you're too much. Okay.
So,
Hey, Bob,
tell us a little
listen,
bit about your show, guys. I want to
Chicago-
hear about your.
What was that, Bob?
Yeah.
I want to answer.
I want to hear
a question real
about
quick.
how you guys got together and what brought about the impetus for the show.
Oh yeah, okay. So Rico. So earlier, well, it was last year, Rico had made a comeback to where it all began for him, the EWF, Jesse Hernandez, and he did a show for them. Prior to that, Rico and I had done an interview on my podcast, and we reconnected that night. Victoire, as it was known back then, is now the Masters of Wrestling. And we formed a friendship there. You know, he's a great guy. We both are Christian men, and we just started growing a friendship from there. And I pitched him the idea. I said, you know, Rico, we should do a show. We should call it Styling and do it all, you know, have various topics, men's health, pro wrestling, movies, entertainment, whatever we want to talk about. Let's do it. So we launched that in September. And since then, we've been growing. We've had on special guests. We're going to go live soon. So it's been really a pleasurable experience. And then, of course, Rico's been helping me fine tune my character and my walk in pro wrestling as the master with the two gentlemen that I work with, Slade and McCallion. We're a group collectively known as Delirium. So that's a little overview.
Yeah, I've watched several of your episodes, and you guys have got a good chemistry. And it helps a lot that, you know, sharing an outlook on life, you know, makes a big difference there too. But I really enjoyed listening to you guys on the different episodes that I watched. Of course, I had to watch the Bolin one because he makes us.
No.
How'd you like this part?
Yeah, but you notice that we got words in edgewise.
That was amazing. Yeah. I was going to ask Amir what it felt like to like do a show and never say anything. So,
well, it felt like a day off, but I must admit that ego part of me wanted to talk more. But yeah, Kenny's a character, but he's got one of those voices. It's just he's got one of those radio voices. So it's easy to just switch off and let him go, you know?
And he will go. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
So we got a couple questions in the audience. Rico, now that you live on a ranch, do you carry the 6-shooter and the range rifle? I'm sure you pack while you're out there, right?
Yes. Oh, if you watch any of the episodes, I've come in on my horse, and sometimes I wear 2 6-shooters or a single when I'm on the ranch doing my work. And me being prior law, I always carry a gun. It could be a semi-automatic, but I'm here in cowboy country, you know, and I do as the Roman does. And I have a 357 6-shooter, and I've got 3 45 long Colts, where the actual peacemaker rounds that cowboys used to carry back in the day, 1900s. And I wear it around town. I wear it wherever I go, and I don't carry it concealed. And I want somebody to know that I got a gun on, in case they're thinking something stupid.
Right.
And I'm good at it. I wouldn't carry it if I wasn't proficient. So me just carrying it, no, I've practiced with these weapons and I know I can shoot. As I don't know if you know yet, but I'm into cowboy mounted shooting, which is a sport a little over 10 years old. And we don't fire projectiles. We fire black powder in blanks, and we have to ride a course. There's 10 balloons. Each 6-shooter carries 5 rounds, because you got to have the hammer on an empty chamber. So you run, and as you're riding this horse, you fire the black powder at the balloons, and it's timed. So you do 10 balloons, you run a course, bang, 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 and they judge your time, and if you hit all 10 balloons. So I'm doing that now. My 3rd lesson, I ran the course. I showed Amir the tape, and I ran the course, boom, 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 and got 9 out of 10 on my 3rd lesson. So shooting has always been good for me because of the law enforcement background, you know, when I had to move and shoot on my own. But now I'm riding a horse and shooting off the back of the horse. And a lot of people don't know that horses have opinions too.
Oh,
So,
Loud noises are not only great for them.
yeah. So I right now I'm training Rico's Rose, which is the horse I rescued from Three Willows, and I've got to get her used to the loud bang. Now I wear earplugs, and the horse wears earplugs, so the horse doesn't have to, be traumatized with the bang. Safety. And in this sport, the Cowboy Mounted Shooting Association, you got to dress like a cowboy, you got to look like a cowboy, you got to have cowboy pants, chaps or chinks, you got to carry 2 Western guns. I carry one here, because you got to ride and switch weapons. After 5 shots, that one's empty, so you have to holster it while you're guiding the horse, and then pull your other weapon to shoot the other 5 balloons. So it's very challenging, and I love the challenge because I haven't been challenged personally since WWE, and that's 2005. That's almost 20 years. Professionally, I've been challenged. I've always taken professions. I've been protecting people and serving the public and the private sector for over 34 years of my life. And I'm 63 now. And now I want to just do something for me now. That's why I moved out of Vegas. It was getting too hard. You have to travel 100 miles an hour with your hair on fire, and you're dealing with a multiple culture level, because people come in from everywhere to visit Vegas, so it's kind of hard. And I said, enough's enough. 34 plus years. Now I want to do something for me before I leave this earth, and my story, Bob. It almost happened to me several times where I should have been gone. And so the good Lord above thinks I need to be here.
Yeah, you just handguns, or you have the rifles also?
I'm still
on
picking
the contest.
My
it's just handguns, right?
Right now, I'm just have handguns. I have an Italian-made Pieta, and I have 2 Ruger Vaqueros. Actually, 3, 2 45 long Colts, and 1 357. So I really want to pick my rifle, and I haven't picked one yet. So, like I said, Henry's a good rifle, but I've been looking at a lot of lever actions because I do ride a lot of trails, and there's coyotes out here and stuff like that, and
big ass rattlesnakes, and
the thing, I have not seen one rattlesnake the 13 years I've been here. I hear them, but I've never seen one.
Don't say that, Train. You don't speak too soon.
Yeah, I was about to say that's gonna happen as soon as I walk out.
Don't jinx yourself. You're gonna walk out of your office and hear
in my garage.
I had that happen one time. One time I was on a hike and I was just coming down the side of this little mountain, and I heard the man. I ran so fast. It was somewhere close. That's the only encounter I've ever had.
Yep. Yeah, close enough to warn you.
Yeah, close enough to get the heck
out.
out.
I got a 38 special, so I got that 6-shooter.
5 shot.
6.
5 shot.
No, it's a 6.
6 shot. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the old Cartwrights.
When it comes to wild rabbit animals on his ranch, Rico is going home. What? What was that?
Cameron was saying that when you're out in the wild, rabbit animals, you're not dealing with.
Comedy's hard.
Yeah, but coyotes travel in packs, and I hear them right outside my fence.
Yeah, they're
there.
They say shout out tricky.
Yeah.
I have 3 horses, 3 Great Danes, 8 chickens, and a partridge in a pear tree.
How many acres are you on?
2.
Really? Hey, that's my dream right now, is just to have some acres and horse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and but the coyotes and the skunks go for the chickens because we lock them up, have the chicken wire, everything, and I hear them at night. They howl. They have their own talk, and I've seen them at the fence. Now I'm just inside city limits, so I cannot use a rifle or anything like that, and that's where my archery comes in. I have a PSE compound bow at 80-pound pull, and I'm deadly at 50 yards.
Wow.
And I practice every 3 days. I go out and just shoot my bow. And so if they come, let them come.
Yeah,
and I have a flashlight
so
at the end of my bow that I can see him at night.
Don't let the stylist character fool you. This man is
I know. I've shot arrows before, and it looks like you could just like easily, and that should go all off.
Well, and the
now in archery, I had
pull back. That requires some strength. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was that?
Well, that's why it's a compound. You know, you pull it back, and it goes hard, and then it does the rollover. So it goes from 80 pounds to 15 on the compound. But when it releases, my arrow does close to 300 feet per second.
Wow.
And when it hits, I have to have an archery target and 2 bales of hay behind it, because I shot just with hay the first time. Arrow went through the hay, through the wood fence, and broke on the other side. So I'm like, oh, I got to fix this, or I'll be losing arrows. So,
or people.
I hope I don't ever have to. But we're on 2 acres, and my backdrop.
Anybody that's close enough to get hit by the arrow deserves to get hit by the arrow.
Cooper's 4. Lieutenant Colonel Cooper. Same with a handgun. Never put your finger on the trigger. Make sure of your target. Do not put the barrel on anything you're not willing to destroy, and be aware of your backdrop. And that, as a police officer, you have to take that in. You just can't. Somebody fires at you, and they're standing in front of a crowd. You can't just fire back. You can't do it. You have to be aware of your background, because every bullet that comes out of your gun, you're responsible for as an officer. So, it's not like in the movies, bang, bang, bang,
right?
Bang, 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 bang.
Well, I think they do that out here as well. At the ranches out here in the desert here in California, 4th of July and whatnot, they shoot up in the sky, and obviously that bullet's got to come back down.
Bullet comes down.
What goes up? What goes up? Got to come down. And I don't know how many calls I answered as an officer on 4th of July, New Year's Eve. People hit by dropping bullets. When they shoot the shotgun, if it's not double-aught, okay, the bird shot's going to go in the air. But they're shooting actual bullets. And a 22 caliber has a mile trajectory in every direction except down. 22. Okay, if a 22 can travel that far,
people don't understand physics and gravity, and how that bullet's going to accelerate coming back down, and it's going to be traveling as fast when it hits as it did when it was fired out. So
well, here they have what's called Amber's Law, to where you can't fire up in the air at all. I guess a girl named Amber got killed by one about 10 years ago, but they were celebrating, shot, one came down right through her head, and
that's terrible.
I mean, just not thinking.
Even the police, you cannot fire the warning shot as they used to do in the movie. Hold! They fired one in the air. Well, where's that bullet gone? Somebody eating lunch in a cafe, it goes through the roof and pops. A warning shot.
What happened to my Big Mac? Oh my God. All right, so we could bring Kenny Bolin back. I don't know. Should we have a vote and decide if we're going to do that?
Oh, if you let those people do that, oh my goodness!
Oh, the people. Ask your viewers there.
Who is Chicago Sun? I've seen that guy.
Anyone who wants to donate money, let us know whether you want Kenny to come back on or not. That's how it's going.
Okay, you match my challenge. We'll keep him off the air.
There we go.
This is a hostile takeover.
It is a hostile. It happened.
It is. So, Amir, how did you get started in wrestling? When did you get started, and what's your background? Who trained you?
So initially, I had trained quite a few years ago in UPW, Ultimate Pro Wrestling, under Rick Bassman out in Southern California. So, are you familiar with Rick Bassman? I see you. I see you smiling there. Yeah. So I had initially met Chris Masters way back when Chris was a young guy in training. And he had said to me, he goes, "Oh, I'm getting trained by the guy who trained the Ultimate Warrior." Now, at the time, I'd just come over from England. I'd gotten into UCLA from the UK, and I'd pretty much given up on my hopes of wrestling because back then, there weren't wrestling schools in every corner in the UK. It was, I think, Hammerlock Wrestling was the only school that existed out there, and they didn't even have a ring. It was just mats on the floor. So, but then I went with Chris to meet Rick. I trained for some time. But at the time, I wasn't a permanent resident of the U.S., so I had to keep going home and coming back and home and back. So eventually, my path went a different way. I ended up being a screenwriter for a number of years. I still write to this day. I write for magazines and whatnot. But about a year ago, I got back in contact with Jesse Hernandez, whom I'd met about 7 years ago. And so Jesse and I got to talking. I told him about doing a podcast in wrestling, and I had no intentions of ever getting back into anything in pro wrestling. It just sort of happened organically. One day I was at one of the shows, and very talented, probably one of the most talented wrestlers in Southern California right now, Richie Slade, came over to me and said, "Hey, you look like you need to be in this business." And I said, "Oh, well, I always wanted to be." And then we got to talking, and we started brainstorming this idea, this delirium idea, and this character. And slowly but surely, it came to pass in the EWF. We added one of Richie's friends, talented individual, Flex McCallion, who's now known as McCallion. He joined our team, and we launched our group in August of 2024. And since then, we've been doing well, and we're going to be debuting at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood soon. So keep your eyes open for us there. We are invading Championship Wrestling, and we've got some other interesting things on the horizon too, but I can't divulge that yet.
So, Rico, your AEW spot was talk of the world, when it happened. We were all pretty excited
to see.
The
complete shock, and to keep it under wraps.
Yeah. How did that feel walking out there after so many years away?
Oh, it felt wonderful. Soon as we came out of the curtain, I went back to the entertainment, Rico, and and the audience responded. I heard the pop when the pre-tape happened because I've been worried that people forgot about me or wouldn't remember me and stuff like that. So I was a little nervous when I accepted this from Mr. Khan. And when I heard the pop at the pre-tape, because they had a section, people would guess who was going to be their guest manager. And everybody guessed wrong except two people who said my name. That's what Mansoor told me. And we went back and did the pre-tapes. And then when I came out, it just felt normal. And I was excited. My whole body was just invigorated again. And just to be in the ring in front of the fans again. And the older fans knew who I was. And the announcers at that time did put over, that I'm back and stuff like that. And it felt really great to do something, the little I did, but I still made a difference and stuff like that. And getting to work with Billy again, Billy's the one that helped me when I first got there because I knew nothing about managing. And I gave Kenny a call when they told me I'm going to be their manager stylist. Oh God. What? Foot stylist, hair stylist. What do you goes? And then Vince looked at me and goes, "Flesh it out." And then turned around. I'm like, "Flesh it out? I'm not prepared for this, and I don't even know what it is." So my first couple of times I came out black on black, black shirt, black pants. And I know I didn't want to continue to do that because that's what Steven Richards did when he went from Right to Censor, and I can't remember the second group that he managed. And so I had to start thinking of this character, but people remembered, and that's what got me back into the circuit, basically. I did my first convention a couple weeks ago in New York, the big expo, and that was my first convention outside of the WWE umbrella. and I was received very well. I signed for 6.5 hours.
Nice.
People were coming up, and I got to see Ric Flair. My headbangers and I hit it off. It was really great. And Flair, I walk up because he's walking right by my table. I said, Mr. Flair, he goes, and he's got his entourage behind him. I said, hello, Mr. Flair. He goes, oh my God, Rico. You know, I had to do a job for this fucking guy. He's smiling.
Hey,
he did.
Rico, remember Rico. Remember, he is Joe Rogan status, baby. All right, that's what he told me. He's Joe Rogan status. That's what he told me.
So, but Rick was wonderful.
Just keep on impressing me.
I got to see him. So, you know, he took a picture and with me, and he was smiling the whole time. And you know, I thanked him. You know, when he sat down, I said, I really appreciate what you did, and it helped my career. I can never thank you much. I can never thank you enough. And he said, thank you, and gave me a hug. And then, of course, people were waiting to see him. So I left. And then I got to see Rikishi, which I haven't seen in 20 years. And I snuck around his table, and where he didn't see me. And I went in his ear and I said, excuse me, do you have any chapstick? And he's signing, and he looked up and he went, oh my God, Rico. He knew it was me right away. And then he stood up. And you know what? He looks fantastic. He has lost weight, and he's getting healthy again. And you see the vibrance in his face. He looks so much better. And I'm glad whatever infirmed him is going away.
Good. That's good news. Good to hear.
And
you were in Vegas.
Go ahead.
Oh, so you were in Vegas.
Hang on. I'll love you, because I haven't said a word since I got back, and I don't know.
Yeah, it was
my mouth.
I'm taking over.
No fucking shit. My mouse quit working long enough. It worked long enough to get me back in here. We peaked up to 180 viewers, but I got some important, kind of the fucking reason we're here is to announce some donations. So, Bob, if comments are going to be in the world, hang on. If comments are going to be put up, Bob's going to have to do it. Jazzy Jana says, "I've got a wrench. We're good for now." Who was misbehaving to Jazzy?
Nobody.
Jana?
Well, Cameron was trying to be funny. But apparently it was
don't block Cameron. Fuck.
I'm not blocking Cameron. Cameron.
All right, Jesus fucking Christ.
Apparently he said something based on something Rico said 40 years ago, and expecting him to remember it now.
Shit hits the fan.
It's based on what he said to Chris as a kid.
That was the rabid animal thing.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Comedy's hard. I'm going to recap.
Well, you got to understand it.
Yeah.
Y'all have had plenty of time to run your mouth. Please, everybody, shut the fuck up until I get done. Can you do that, Rico?
Oh, by the way, like I
was saying, allow me to ramble on.
I learned from the best, Bob.
You certainly did.
I learned from the best. You're not going to cut me off.
No.
Okay, while you're looking, you look. Now listen, I also met Jamal's son at the expo.
Yeah.
And he came up to me with his crew, and he gave me a hug. And I remember him when he was like 6 and 7 backstage. This kid's huge.
Is he wrestling now?
Yes, he is. And he told me how much he appreciated me and loved what his father and I did together. And we were always good friends. And he goes, when I debut, this touched my heart. He goes, when I debut, I want you to be there.
Oh, sweet.
Damn.
I was like, oh, wow, my God. That sent lightning bolts through my body. And I wish the best for him. And I will be there if he asks me.
Well, and the world needs more big Samoans in the WWE. We just ain't got enough. We need a few more.
But if they got talent,
hey, I called shit on the Usos 2 years ago and said get them off the goddamn shows. They're ruining and now look, especially Jay. Jay's most over guy in the company. And that includes Cena, that includes Cody. That's everybody. That includes Roman. That includes Roman. Jay Uso is the most over guy on the card. So I missed that one.
I'll say 5 years going to be Jacob.
I will. All right, I got to recap these donations because we've had a couple more come through. Somebody made a nice donation that I see in here. Doesn't have a badge, doesn't have a membership, but they made an awfully nice donation. I thought I knew who it was, but maybe I didn't. So to recap, we got the night started with the $35 challenge from Randy the Macho Man Satterley. It was just my home a couple of days ago. That was matched by Americo, not Rico, but Americo Costantino.
Americo matched that, yeah. I got to thank him later.
We're going to have to figure out who that is. Then that was matched by Michigan Mike. Where's he from? He's from Michigan. And then that was matched by Jazzy Jana from Louisiana. Thank you so much, Jazzy Jana. Who, by the way, was about to block some ass here a few minutes ago, apparently. I'm glad we got back in here. Then that was, okay, then here's a big donation y'all don't know about yet. And I thought I saw Zach Bonifer. Zach Bonifer made a $15 donation. We missed that one. And for whatever reason, that has disappeared from my thing here. And then we have hang on, Zach Bonifer, $15. TC from the NC, North Carolina, he's donated $10.
Thank you.
And then we have two more big donations here. Now, if anyone knows who this is, let me know. Apparently, I know who you're in the chat room. You don't have a badge, you don't have a membership, but you did make a hell of a donation and a nice challenge. I hope this helps those kids and family who sell the peanut butter. I'm issuing a $50 challenge. It's Abraham Pashtun. So I thought maybe that was Amir's real name. Amir, that's not you?
What, Abraham? No, that's not my real name. Nope.
OJ.
Okay. Because I don't know your real name.
This is
OJ. OJ.
Yeah, you see Bob throw his comment up there. There he is. Yeah.
It's up there.
Yeah, so yeah,
$50. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so yeah, it's very kind of you. And yeah, we'll forgive you for not having a badge or a membership because that is a very nice challenge, very nice donation. But that has been that
doesn't mean he's not going to be a badge owner. Right. Okay.
You never know. But that has been that $50 donation was the biggest donation of the night, biggest challenge of the night. But that has been topped. That has been topped, and I'm glad we got Jazzy Jana's samurai sword out of her hand there for a brief moment because we got
go Jazzy Jana.
You got to be careful who you give those those wrenches to. You sometimes you get a little moody. Little Jimmy LeBeau. Now, Bob, have you shown that video that you've got of John
that's
Cena
a different little Jimmy.
Let's show that first because Bob's got some video. This is exclusive video of John Cena versus Little Jimmy. Now, I don't know if it's Little Jimmy.
Now, this is R-Truth was wanting to challenge his hero.
Yeah.
John Cena, his childhood hero, John Cena. But instead, Little Jimmy decided to go out and
is that what it was? Okay,
so this is
instant classic.
Jimmy.
Yeah, here we go.
It's a classic. Little Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm glad I got back in time.
So R-Truth's Little Jimmy and John Cena.
Well, that was kind of a controversial match, so they got to run
it was
back.
The finish.
Yeah,
I was not expecting that finish.
Should be disbarred. The referee should be
dusty
disbarred.
finish.
He didn't see
the only thing I would have added to that, I wanted to hear the and then the bell rings.
Right, I looked for it, but I couldn't.
We hear the
I
three
think there was
count.
a DQ.
Yeah.
We hear the
That
three
crowd
count.
was pretty hot.
And I heard the crowd, but I was looking at the crowd, and the crowd was mild.
The crowd went mild.
There might have been some piped in audio there. I don't know.
Yeah. The lighting was a little bit bad.
It's much like certain guys on the WWE roster now. They bring them out, and then the crowd goes mild. And
That's it.
Or you
You know
hear the
you're in
cheers, but you
trouble
see everybody
when that
sitting on their ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jazzy Jana does not play in the chat. Let's get that under. As a matter of fact, there's somebody in here that was on very, very thin ice. It's like Michigan Mike. Michigan Mike. They got the deep ice up there in Michigan most of the year, and then about the 1st of April, that ice gets a little thin. And we've got a couple of people been in this chat room that are on that April ice up in Michigan. You got to be a little bit careful.
Oh.
And then Dr. Bill with the Euro there. But the biggest donation of the night has come from not Little Jimmy, but Little Jimmy LeBeau, the bastard son of Jim Cornette. Yes, that Little Jimmy LeBeau. He has basically flipped the double bird to all of you and says, I want to really make some impact on this show tonight. I am Little Jimmy LeBeau. I am the bastard son of James Elizabeth Cornette. And if there's anybody out there that can touch me, and there's not, because he gets a little cocky, as Jazzy Jana found out earlier in here tonight, has issued a $200 challenge. I can't show you his birth name.
Wow.
But here, let me scroll up there. There it is. He says, I know it's not much, but it sent $200 to the cause.
Not much.
And so I told him when I was off camera, we might not be able to get an individual to do that. But as a matter of fact, he called you out, Rico. I said, Rico's house hadn't sold yet. Calm down. So,
Thank you.
So if we can do this as a room, then we're going to take care of everything tonight. We're going to get these kids some medical attention, the ones that probably have worms, but it ain't going to cost to get them checked out there what it's going to cost here. I want those kids to go to a doctor, and if they got worms, we got to get that shit taken care of. But if Eunice at 18 years old thinks they got worms, something's up. Something's up.
One of your comments.
Oh, by the way, I've already sent money to Eunice to buy 2 of those full-size mattresses, because for every 2 of those mattresses we buy, 4 or 5 kids can sleep on those. We just put them together, and because they're all young kids. So we got 2 of the mattresses back because that's all they brought today. We only bought 2 because 2 is all they brought. So, but they were at the door at 5 a.m. Her time. Hey, we got a couple of mattresses here, but they had to spend the money on medical shit. So they didn't have the mattress. So I resent the mattress money. But when I hear about these kids and saw the house, we need to get a tarp on that house. That might be what, Bob, $50 for a big old tarp to go over their house.
We're paying $50 to $60.
Well, what's good is the kids can sleep double. Okay, but the parents, they should,
because it's a good size mattress. I don't know if Bob, do you still have a picture of the mattress that they ordered? I thought I sent you some.
Don't think I ever uploaded them.
Okay, but I want people to get it because for 500 pesos a mattress, it's not bad to be fuck out of sleeping on a tarp. Yeah, but she says no. Every kid sleeps on a tarp, so they don't sleep on a dirt floor. And then I looked up and saw the roof. So no, thank you so much for the guy that sent in $50 that, to my knowledge, has never watched this show before, Abraham. Thank you, Abraham. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Abraham.
Thank you.
And for all of you that did the $35 challenges, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Cam Moron. And Cam Moron did tell me that when he got his taxes back, that he was going to be of a he was going to do something big, and he did. He did it tonight, and he said it was an honor to do it on the show with Rico and Emir here tonight. And so greatly appreciate that. And also for those of you that make your donations, we are now officially a 501c3. I know that irks some of you that said it would never happen. But a 501c3, we are registered with the IRS. We are registered with the state of Kentucky. As a matter of fact, I had a link that I sent Bob and some others to where if you click that link and type in Bolin Services Incorporated, or our tax ID number, I guess that's what it is. There's a number you can type in that's even easier. Typing in Bolin, because there's actually, I think, a Bolin Services LLC in St. Louis. But we are Bolin Services Incorporated. And if you type that in, or our, I guess it's our tax ID number, employee ID number, but there's a number you type in, and then we come right up and tells you all about us, what we are, that we're a not-for-profit organization. And man, it just, I cried the day I got that letter, because I even had the trolls convincing me that we weren't going to get it.
Congratulations on that, Kenny. Kenny, when did that happen? When did that happen, Kenny?
It actually went into effect. Bob, you got the letter. I think it went into effect actually on March the 6th. But all donations that have come to the show are now tax-deductible donations, retroactive to February the 2nd.
Yeah, there's our letter.
We were told to black out a couple of key numbers.
Yeah, effective date of the exemption there at the top, or in the middle right, February 2nd, 2025. So any donations made after that would qualify as a tax deductible.
That files in that type of a form.
Yeah.
And we were, and for those that need that number, we were happy to send it to you. But I was told by the young lady for the government that helped me get that set up, and it took a few weeks to get it done, that you treat that like your Social Security number. You just don't put it out there for everybody to see, because people try and take advantage of it. Right. So for those of you that need that number, Mr. LeBeau, you definitely hit and go ahead and throw that, because my mouse doesn't work.
Well, I was going to throw the picture.
It worked long enough to get me in the show. Man, donate.
Yeah, for now.
Kenny,
you definitely hit
is that
it.
The only thing that doesn't work is your mouse.
My cat don't work either, lazy bitch.
Okay, go ahead, Jackson.
That's why I got a mouse that don't work, because I got a cat that works even less.
You definitely hit it. And everyone who donated, you deserve a clap as well. Everyone's in the chat. You guys are awesome.
No doubt about that.
Congratulations, Kenny, on the letter.
A sitting ovation from me, because it hurts.
Yeah, I did want to show. I did want to show. This is the house that they're living in. This is that.
Oh,
yeah.
So that's the roof. This is their.
That's where they sleep.
That's their house.
Wow.
That's what they're sleeping in. That's what they're living.
We have to be able to do better than that.
And these are the beds that are like 500 pesos. I mean, it's the air mattress, right?
But it's 2 or 3 kids right there.
Be an air mattress.
I think you could actually float down some of the rivers on that stuff.
Go fishing.
Yeah. Well, if the floods, they're going to be safe. They just hang on to the bed.
Rico always looking for the positive spin on things. If it floods, they'll float. Well, trust me, it's going to flood.
Yeah, but that's
and by the way, for those of you that live in the Louisville metro area, guess what? We are expected to get 8 to 12 inches of rain starting tomorrow. 8 to 12 inches of rain, and my racist, homophobic piece of shit brother lives on the river. He's the one who has a Mexican father that we just found. Well, I found out in 2012. We just told him a few weeks ago when he was going to call ICE on Mexicans that lived in his glorified trailer park. So we had to smarten him up as to who he was, and that he was calling ICE on fucking family.
He never knew he had Mexican in him.
He never knew until.
No, he never knew.
He never knew till.
What a shock for him.
He knows now.
I see, but whatever.
I told him he got lucky, because my father's a racist ass fucking German. I'd trade with him any day of the goddamn week.
Yeah.
His father worked for 35 years for the same company in Delaware. My father was in the military, but he was a racist piece of shit, and got no use for him. Haven't spoke to him since 2007. Never will
he's
again.
Officially had to change his name to Timmy Juan.
Well, and I've said this story, and when I met, oh my God, you know the story, Kenny, the clipping of the toenails.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I don't even think he has.
Rico walked in my house around the year 2000, 2001.
Right around there.
Probably 2000.
Yeah.
And my brother was in the living room making himself comfortable, clipping his toenails on my glass coffee table.
Yeah.
And Rico lit his ass up like you disrespectful piece of shit.
Yeah.
Man's kind enough to let you in his home, and you sit there and clip your fucking toenails on his glass coffee table.
We're about to have dinner.
Yeah, we're about to eat dinner.
Yeah. And we're going to eat and watch TV. We're going to watch TV, and the table that our food was going to be on,
well,
he's now
it's
clipping toenails.
It's a wired mouse. It doesn't have a battery. See, it lights up. I don't know why it ain't working. I don't know. It worked.
You know my theory. Here's
What's
my
that?
theory. If it doesn't work, use a bigger hammer. That's how I fix things.
It might be, but we still have 174 in the house.
Well, good.
So Cameron says, I'm not expecting any one person to match my donation, but he said if we could do it as a group. Daniel Lemley has added $15 to the totals tonight.
Thank you, Daniel.
Lemley,
Yeah.
Daniel Lemley donates on almost every show. The Tea Maker. I don't know that most of y'all. Yeah, I think you do. But the Tea Maker made a huge donation the other day. He had come into a bit of a settlement. I'll just leave it at that. And Tea Maker made a $200 donation.
Thank you, Tea Maker.
Yeah.
And everybody out there doing the math. Well, goddamn, that's a lot of money. Well, look at what we're doing. It sounds like a lot until you start sending it out. Until you start sending it out. We got 8 kids that need medical
right here, and this is
I can't.
shit.
Oh, you can't live like that. I just,
I mean, what do you think? What do you think? Even if we spent $400, it would improve things.
Those
beds are going to. But what do you think $400 is going to do to that house?
Build
God damn, we had $400. Yeah, Well, throw that picture up one more time, because I think I can motivate. If you don't live in, I mean, they got the luxury of some brick walls there. At least the wind will not blow what little bit they have down. But it took care of that fucking roof. But
I got no glass in the windows. There's a hammock. There's a ladder to get up in the hammock, and there's kids on the floor. I don't know what the floor looks like. You know, are they standing on mud? Are they standing on
what is
floor?
Sleeping on a tarp. And then whatever that thing is, a bench or a hammock, like Rico says, something hanging some. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know, but we have to do something. As my son told me, and he hates it when I bring his name up. He says, "Dad, you can't help them all, but you can help some."
That's the roof.
Yeah. So that's just a structure. It's just like looks like a structure.
You think we get hard rain over here?
Yeah, it looks like something that survived an earthquake is what it is.
Yeah.
It looks like the remnants of an earthquake.
Well, the Philippines have been going through it.
They ain't going any. Throw it up again, Bob, because Jazzy says she saw a suitcase. Do they have the luxury of a suitcase?
That red thing right
there. It looks like one right there at the bottom.
That might be a Tupperware container or something.
Do we have a picture of Ye Ying herself, the little girl that sells the peanut butter? Because I really want to show that. Because you see the age on her face.
Wow.
I mean, the poor little
There's
thing.
There's a picture somewhere. I'm going to find it, though.
Yeah.
Take a while.
We'll get it. We'll get it before the show's over. But I was so glad to have, because I knew that Rico and Emir would draw some new people in here. People that give a shit. Abraham there, that did the way you're describing it before these photos was, oh my God, yeah, he donated before he saw the pictures. Abraham did. Yeah, he donated. Now
did too. A lot of people did. Now you're seeing the pictures. It hits close to home. You know, what do they say? God. A photo says 1,000 words.
I'm going to repeat a story that I told my son about 2 or 3. I had a rough few days, Rico. I mean, just bad news after bad news after bad news. And my son comes over, picks me up, and says, Dad, I got to get you out of here, man. We got to go get something to eat. We got to get you out of the house. And it was just bad. And a lot of financial bad news. It was just whatever bad could happen was happening. And he picks me up, and we're heading to go, I think, to BW3s or something. And I'm my spirits are picking up, and I'm doing a little better. And Chris, and he's going to get mad at me, but I'm going to say it anyway. He says, Dad, he says, I cannot believe how good you're doing. You have been hit with some fucking shit. He says, how are you doing it, man? He says, I know where I would be if all this shit had happened to me. How you doing it? I said, well, this is how I do it. I said, when I go home tonight, I got a refrigerator full of food. When I open my cabinets, the cabinets are full of food. When I turn on the lights, they're going to come on. When I look down at the floor, it's not going to be dirt. When I look up at the ceiling, there's not going to be holes in it. I got 3 dogs there that love me to death. They all have food. They're all going to eat. They're going to eat every fucking day. I'm going to eat every fucking day. I'm going to have electricity, most likely, every fucking day. I said, you know what, Chris? The people I help, they would trade with me in a fucking heartbeat. I'm sitting here feeling sorry for myself. Oh, woe is me. They would trade their best motherfucking day they've ever had for my worst fucking day I've ever had and be thrilled with it and say, what the fuck are you bitching about? Because and that's what got me through it, is that no matter how bad I think I got it, then Bob, feel free to throw that picture up again. I don't have to deal with that. And I don't see that I ever will. So no, I got nothing to
even they got the blocks. That's not proper cement.
Yeah.
That looks like mud.
Yeah.
That's mud.
Well, I doubt that's grout. I doubt that's
not grout.
You know?
It's not. They put it together.
That's the best they could with what they had to work with. That's the best
insulation.
But there's a lot of houses that Bob and I have seen.
Oh, there's the girl, peanut butter girl.
There's the little girl.
Her name is Ye Ying. Okay. She's offering 3 pieces, which means 3 jars for 450 pesos. I saw that. And I said, well, let's get those. And I said, how much does she make? She said 20 pesos. Not per jar, 20 pesos per 3. So if she sells 6, she gets 40 pesos. Well, guys, that's not even $1. $1 is 56 pesos. So she sells 6 jars of peanut butter for $20, and they're not even paying her $1. So that's when I told Eunice, well, let's buy 6 jars, but do me a favor. I'm going to send you 400 extra pesos. It's $8, guys. It wasn't, but $8 was a fucking big deal to her. She cried. Yeah. Oh my God, I can go buy 2 kilograms of rice. My family can eat tonight.
Wow.
Yeah.
My family can eat tonight. Because
it's astonishing how much how much good $20 does.
Oh my God. And y'all wonder why I do this. And if you wonder why I get so offended that you act like that I'm keeping 80% of the fucking money, guess what? I sent Bob a little thing today. If I wanted to, especially now that I'm officially a 501c3, I can keep 95% of the money if I fucking wanted to and be totally in compliance. But Bob has done the math, and this doesn't factor in what Bob sends. The money that I've sent in over the last 14 years, especially since COVID hit, not only do we send every fucking penny that we generate on this show, every fucking penny, Bob figured up, Kenny, you're sending 30% of your own money. Now, I didn't know it was that much because I might not have sent as much if I knew it was 30%. But the way I look at it is if I got enough money in the bank to pay my bills, pay my electric, have my food, get a nice item every now and then. Insurance is paid for most anything nice I've got in here, and Bob would tell you that. If I get an insurance check, I'll reward myself with something nice. That's what the fucking insurance check is for. If you have electrical, I had the fire in here not too long ago. I still haven't even got that insurance check yet. But if I do, I'm probably going to get a bigger TV with it. But that hasn't happened. What's that?
Do they make a 250-inch TV?
Repeat that, Rico.
I said, do they make a 250-inch TV?
Projectors. That one's 7. I'm a little pissed because somebody across the street has a TV that I can watch from my porch. Now, I think it's a projector because it's not the clarity. I've thought about going over, hey, you motherfuckers know who I am. I am the king. I am the king of the Cherokee Triangle. I have the biggest TV on the block until you motherfuckers moved in. So now I can sit on my porch and watch the NCAA tournament and enjoy myself. I'm a second-class citizen over here. You all got to disconnect that motherfucker. Yeah, that's my problem. The neighbors have a bigger TV than me. That's my problem. So
they are getting cheaper though. I've seen that lately. I've seen some massive.
I can get a 98-inch TV for $13.90 at Costco.
Yeah,
98 inches.
So that's about a 55.
But if you want a 102-inch OLED like I have now that have the ultra clear picture, those can be $20,000.
Oh wow!
So, yikes!
But if you just want a big nice television, if you just want a big nice TV, if you want 100 inches up on it, 98, who's counting? Most girls do. But yeah, it's a big deal to some people. Some people. It's not 98.
I always tell them, "Hey, I'm gonna get off character here. I'm going back to Rico. I always tell people I have a 2-incher. Like, what?
Me and you have the same theory on that. Why overbuild expectation? Tell them you got 2. Don't tell them you got 9. Tell them you got 2, and when they get 4, they'll be fucking thrilled.
Oh yeah.
Whoa! Where did all that come from?
The back of the joke is, I got 2 inches, but it's 2 inches from the floor.
I was never so blessed. I was never. I'm going to tell you a quick story about.
I
Cam
could be
Mullen.
laying on my stomach and it wouldn't be too itchy from the floor. I mean,
this is a filthy joke. This is a filthy joke.
all right, Cameron wants to know what got you into doing this, Kenny, in the first place. What started?
I'll tell it as quickly as I can. I had an ex-girlfriend named Lena.
There's an hour
later.
There's an hour.
Be prepared for another hour. I have an ex-girlfriend named Lena. Lena lived with her grandmother, and she's the one that wrote me one day on Facebook, and she used to call me Daddy Bear. And finally, eventually, I said, "Why do you call me Daddy Bear?" She says, "You're the only person that ever loved me as much as my daddy." And I said, "Well, that's pretty cool. All right, I'll accept that." And she's watching me on television. And Rico, you're in this story. And I said, "You're watching me on TV?" I said, "Honey, I've never sent you any DVDs," because I'd sent her some gifts, but no DVDs, just some souvenirs from here and T-shirts and shit. And I said, "Well, how are you watching me?" She says, you're on SmackDown, Daddy." And I said, "SmackDown?" I said, "Okay." And this is 2012, Rico. This is 2012. And
Well,
I
was
said,
way off of SmackDown.
Well, hang on. You're about to hear the
Okay.
Paul Harvey version called "The Rest of the Story." She says, "Yeah." She says, "Yeah, Daddy Bear, you're on TV right now." I said, "I'm on TV now." She says, "Yeah, Daddy, me and Grandma watching you on TV." I said, "And what are we on?" She said, "SmackDown." I said, "Describe to me what you're seeing." "Daddy Bear, you're standing in the ring. You got on a suit. You got your briefcase." I said, "What's the briefcase say?" "Starmaker." I said, "Okay, all right, yeah, that's me." I said, "Who am I with?" "Well, you're with John Cena." I said, "Yeah, okay, interesting." I said, "Anybody else?" She said, "Some guy with long curly hair." I said, "That's Rico." So me, you, and Cena are doing a promo on SmackDown. And what they were doing, they were finding the shit match of the night on SmackDown and inserting OVW matches every week for 5 years of me, you, and Cena on their SmackDown show.
Really?
And
my
Cornette
gosh.
said that wasn't happening. Cornette says, "No, there's no way in hell." Well, there was a way in hell. It went on for 5 years that me, you, and Cena, and probably Sly Turkey and a few others, Bull Buchanan, were on the SmackDown
figures
shows over there because they were picking a match to make sure they had John Cena. And then let's face what it was. They were because John Cena, how you get attention over there is you report John Cena's dead. You don't know for how many years I've been having to answer, is John Cena still alive? Yeah, he's still with us. But to get clicks, people would wrote that John Cena's dead, and he's very popular in the Philippines. So she lived with her grandmother. They had air conditioning, a 19-inch color TV, all the cooking amendment. Fuck, I think her place at that time was better than mine. Then her grandmother dies, and she moves in with her sister in the provinces, not in Batangas, which was a vacation resort. And the next time I see Lena, because she disappears for 3 or 4 months, no phone, no way to get a hold of me, no nothing. And the next time I hear from her, "Daddy Bear, I bothered somebody's phone. I'm so sorry I disappeared. My grandma died. And I send you some pictures of where I live now." She's living with her sister. It's a shack. There's no bricks. It's a grass roof, sticks for a house. And she's washing her clothes in a nearby small river. You talk about going from the outhouse to the penthouse. No electricity, next to no food. And it wasn't only Lena, but that was pretty much how most of the people lived that didn't live in Metro Manila, that didn't live in that didn't live in Batangas or vacation resorts, Iloilo City, Cebu. If you live in the provinces, what you saw tonight is a lot of what you see. So since 2012, so I guess it's technically 13 years? Yeah, since 2012, that's when we were helping as many people as we could. Then when COVID hit, I wasn't able to do as much on my own. That's when the fans started helping. And I certainly appreciate everybody that's jumped in to help do that. But that's what got that going, is seeing that everybody didn't live like Lena. And when her grandma died, she didn't live like that either. Now, her life is a little better now, and we still help out when we can. I mean, she's been an ex-girlfriend for a long time. She's got a kid through another guy that, of course, left her because, well, that's an expense. You know, men over there. I mean, we got some horrible men in America, but boy, they mass produce them over there. Because as soon as that family requires money to take care of, they bail on them and start a new family. They do not make them pay child support. Our government passed a law to where our soldiers, if they get Filipino women pregnant, they are exempt from paying child support. What a crock of fucking shit.
Wow.
That's my opinion. That's yeah. If you go over there, I don't care if it's Cambodia. I don't give a goddamn if it's Taiwan, the Philippines, South Africa, Afghanistan. If you get their women pregnant, you pay for what you've done. If you're that fucking careless. And but no, our government made it easy for soldiers not to take care of their Filipino babies. Our government did that. Now, which president did it, I'm not sure, but fuck him. I don't care if it's Biden, Clinton, Bush, or Trump. I don't care who did it. That's a crock of shit. But no, they just made it easy for them. And you can look that up. That's the God's honest truth. That's awful. That our soldiers do not have to pay child support for the Filipino women they impregnated. So that is why I try to do as much as I can to help as many as we can. That's why I get a little offended when people try to shit on it. And there was a former co-host of a show. Well, Bolin's pocketing about 80 to 90% of that. Well, legally I could. Morally, I can't. I've even had family members. Why don't you be more like Trump? Why don't you just keep most of it? Because it tells you right on when Trump writes you a letter for money, and I'm sure most politicians, but I noticed it with the Trump letters because I was getting them all the time, is that I think they only had to do 2%. But mine states, because I'm a not-for-profit organization, you have to spend 5% of your money. Oh, wow. And I wrote my son. I said, well, this seems like just a license to fucking steal. He said, that's basically what it is. That's why, and no offense to the good churches, but that's why a lot of the bad churches do it. Well, God wants me to have a jet airliner to spread his word. I actually heard the bakers say that. God wants us to have an amusement park to live in with a mighty king.
Yeah. And God was part of that circle for a long time. And
the Jimmy Swaggarts. Oh, forgive me, Lord, for
I've met Baker. I've met Swaggart. And the things they preached about the most, what they were so fervent about is the things they fell to. And that just shocked me. It opened my eyes. Now, of course, there are good ones out there. I'm not saying everybody's bad. Not everybody's a thief. But like I said, I got to meet, unfortunately, I had to.
You've met a couple of bad people.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't because I sought them out. It was because of the people I was protecting. No, exactly. They're not people I would want to meet, but I had to in the course of business, and be professional and lay aside my personal feelings and stay professional, which was hard. Like I said, I've even met Daniel Ortega. I know Kenny knows
what
that.
What a taco he makes. What a taco, huh? Oh, the Ortega tacos,
not Del Ortega. I'm talking the Sandinista leader.
Yeah.
When I went into his place, which I had to because of a client, he had a war room and he had all the pictures of all the communists around the room with an oval table. And it was so depressing and so heavy. I couldn't wait to get out of there. It was just appalling. And at that time, he was exiled in Nicaragua. And the president of the time, which I also met, was a female named Chamorro. And she got into power because somehow, I think it was connected with Daniel Ortega, her husband was murdered. And she got elected president and put him in exile. But it was kind of like that extravagant exile where he could still do, but he was sequestered. So, I've met good people in my careers and I've met awful people.
Hey, it's just safe to say they're everywhere, Rico. It doesn't matter if it's a church pastor.
No matter where you go, no matter where you go in the world, the bad people are there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're not normally hard to find.
No. And those type of people are proud of what they've done. They think they're right. And that's where I have a problem with them.
Like the whole scenes of the world. And...
that great story I told about why I help people and not one more donation came in. So, you can
give it some
we haven't done
time.
too bad tonight. We haven't done. And I don't see Donald Flowers in here tonight. Donald Flowers did buy a autograph picture of Shawn Michaels from me that he'll be getting in the mail any day now. And Bob has a surprise coming he doesn't even know about because somebody promised to buy something and didn't pay for it. So now Bob's getting it.
How about
but Bob helps us out a lot and bails us out. Whenever we're short on something, Bob is always there to pick up. Bob paid for these cards.
Bob's our rich stepdaddy.
These aren't your typical goddamn business cards. These are those boss cards, and I'm so proud of these. I'm going to be thrilled to send these out. I mean, it's like a credit card, and it shows our fans here's something you can always have with you. That's got my signature on it, whatever that's worth. I'll be dead one day, and it might be worth something then. And but no, I'm very proud of these cards, and they're like a little credit card. They're exact size of a credit card, made of plastic, not paper that's going to wear down over time, and shows you our appreciation for those of you that order autograph pictures from us. My book. That's the book. How many cards are in here, Bob? 250?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the box of the cards. My book comes in a few different covers. If you would like to get a copy of my book, the 10-year anniversary of me writing this book was July the 15th of 10 years ago. What year would that have been? 2015? Yeah. We'll do something special on the show on the 10-year anniversary of the mid-month of July. July 15th was the release date. Also, for those of you that want, and Michigan Mike's got one coming soon. And Michigan Mike said delay his Anthony Scaramucci book because he wants some whoopie pies. Bob, how you doing on your whoopie pies? How many of you eat? I want an actual confession. I don't want any bullshit.
3 down, 9 to go.
3 down.
So I mean, now I've had like half of them, so I've like cut them in half.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
My dad has got some, so I've tried the.
So you're trying to kill your father. That's horrible.
Well, caramel supreme, the original, and the banana cream. So far, the banana cream is awesome. Oh my god!
Didn't you get a butterscotch as well?
I did. You know what? I'm gonna kick out and go get one of those just to show the guys what they look like. So I'll be back.
Oh my god, yeah, because they haven't seen them. But these whoopie pies, man, are oh my god! You talk about a sugar rush.
I forgot to order them, but I'm going to do it tonight.
That'd be a good idea.
Where did Bob go?
He went to whoopie pies.
Oh,
go get all that shit around his mouth.
Yeah, John Cena Senior sells whoopie pies, and Bob ordered 12 of them. And supposedly, I have 24 whoopie pies coming. I think in May. And so Michigan Mike said, "Hold off on my book. Send me my book." And I told him because he's done a lot for our show. He's always good for $35 to $50 here and there all the time, just like Jazzy Jana. So I told him when I mail him his book, and then he donated $60 to get the Anthony Scaramucci book a long time ago. And he said, well, I'm not going to have time to read it till April anyway. He said, just send it to me in April. And then I said, well, if you wait till May, I'm going to send you a whoopie pie with it. He said, send it to me in May. I want a whoopie pie.
I'm going to give myself the big.
They're like $4 or $5 each, but go ahead, Bob.
There we go. This is a whoopie pie. So there's my hand. It's as big as my palm.
Yeah,
that's how thick they are.
Wow.
Yeah. This is the mocha flavor. So a little coffee flavored cream with the chocolate cake there. That is.
Let's go ahead and throw that address up there again.
That is Wooja or Wooja Whoopies is what it is.
Oh, you know,
this sounds like a fake address. We still got 177 of you in the house watching the show. We appreciate that.
Whoopies on Facebook,
that.
and just put it in the chat. Hey, Rico Emir, tell us where we can watch your show and what you got coming up.
Okay,
Amir, I'm going to give this to you. You take it.
Oh, thank you, Rico. So you can find us on YouTube. It is at Victoire Podcast, VICTOIRE Podcast. You'll find us under the Masters of Wrestling.
Spell that one more time because I spoke over you.
Okay, VICTOIRE Podcast. At Victoire Podcast. It'll be under the Masters of Wrestling. You'll see the playlist with Styling. We've got Power and Glory with Paul Roma and Mario Mancini. And then we've got Masterclass with myself and McCallion. So we got 4 shows on there. Upcoming, we have a live show, our first live show this Sunday, Power and Glory, the podcast. that Sunday night. And then I believe in it's about a week or 2 weeks, Rico, we've got Kenny joining us for our live styling podcast. And we may have another guest on that show. Rico's got to confirm that.
Good possibility.
Yeah, good possibility. Yep. So we're going to be talking about the Chris Benoit.
Another former WWE star might be appearing with us.
Yeah, another former star. Yep. So we're going to be, that's upcoming. So everybody, I'll encourage them who's watched our show, who has yet to hit the subscribe button. Make sure you do that. Very, very.
How do you miss that? Listen, Kenny's mouse isn't working, but mine is. Just take this little thing and put that little arrow over the red button and just hit left click. Yeah, my mouse is, I got ever ready batteries on mine.
Yeah.
So, that's it. You know, and hit the subscribe, you know, share it with your friends. Like, we talk about many things, not just wrestling. And
hey, Bob, kick me out because Choco's crying to go out. And when she's crying to go out, she got to go. So.
Okay, he's gone. So,
don't have to ask me twice to get rid of him.
There you go. Now we're going to get a lot more viewers, right?
It'll creep up a little bit.
Oh, but listen, I'd like to tell everybody, I just got back into the circuit, and like I said before, I thought people would forget, and I went to New York, and it was a pretty good success, and I'm going to be at WrestleCon with Emir and everybody from Victoire in Vegas at the Westgate at WrestleCon. And the week after that, I'm going to be in Indianapolis. I'm going to do that convention, and I'm always dressed in character. I looked around, and a lot of wrestlers weren't dressed in character, and I was like, why not? You know, but I guess that's how they appear. But me, I come like this. And I love meeting the fans, taking pictures with them, and hearing their stories. Hold it. I have somebody guarding. Daddy's okay. Come here. Come here.
When is that Vegas convention?
Okay, so we're going to April 18th, Rico, you're going to be there, right? April 18th.
Yep, I'll be there one day. April 18th. Due to responsibilities here, I can't make it for both days. And you know, and then Indianapolis, like I said, I do ranch work and stuff like that, and have a lot of responsibilities, a lot of animals depending, and so I'll be there one day in Indianapolis.
I was going to ask you earlier, did you ever do anything with the Cauliflower Alley Club?
I've been there
Vegas every year, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I would, unfortunately, when I got healthy again, I went to work for Bell United as an insurance investigator. And it was always, I worked the weekends because it was the most traffic, the most busy. So the company had me work those days because I can multitask, you know, OCD, ADD, you name it.
You and me both.
I got it. Yeah. But I use it as
percentile.
Yeah. I use it. See, and that's the difference. I use it as a catapult, not a crutch. And I decided that young, and my father helped me with it. And when I went to military academy from 8th grade to 12th grade, it showed me structure. So I don't do medication. I got taught early structure helps. And like I said, with law enforcement, bodyguarding, insurance, event, anything like that with structure, and I know what's coming and what's expected of me, I excel in. Yeah. And, you know, catapult, not crutch. And it just, you know, that's the way I live now, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah. See, I wasn't diagnosed until about 5 years ago. So up until then, it was just like, why the hell am I all over the place and can't like focus on shit, you know?
Well, when I was young, they didn't even know about ADD, you know, in the 70s, they didn't know about it, you know, and
you just weren't trying hard enough is what they tell you.
Yeah. And the reason why I went to military school is I didn't pass 7th grade to 8th grade. So I had to go to summer school, and my parents moved to Wisconsin, and I went to summer school at this military academy that was off. So I did my math and my English and got my units, and I got promoted to the 8th grade. And I told my father, I want to go here because I saw the medals, the ribbons. And to me, it was a challenge. I was like, oh, I'm going to win this. I'm going to win that. I'm going to go for this, go for that. So for a child with ADD, OCD, that's heaven.
Right.
You know, things are attainable. And my first year from 8th grade to 9th grade, I got 1 medal, 1 ribbon, and 1 stripe.
Well, yep.
You know, and that started me, and I loved military school. So I wasn't sent there. I asked my father to put me there.
Yeah, I know a few people who did that too, that they knew they needed that kind of structure.
Yeah. And
I think for anybody, structure is a must. Anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, especially as we move forward in this age now where a lot of people work from home, they don't necessarily have to be somewhere. So it's good to learn that. And, you know, obviously Rico and we talk a lot about lifting weights, bodybuilding, you know, and martial arts too.
I know nothing about lifting weights.
Yeah.
Nothing about it.
I need to get my ass back into it, man. It's been a while.
I've been lifting some weights. Oh, those were
There you go.
Yeah. And the irony is, Bob, is you're getting that from John Cena's dad of all people.
I know. I know. I bet
A health
a Whoopie
fanatic.
pie has never touched John Cena's lips.
Yeah.
Not Junior, anyway.
Yeah. But it's good.
They are really
Structure is
good,
good. Structure is
How
good.
old a guy are you, Amir?
What's that?
How old a guy are you?
I don't reveal my age.
Oh, yeah.
Only a
Never
number.
reveal. I don't.
He's
What's that?
39 again.
That means he's almost 40.
It's only a number, right?
No, I just am. That's all. Next question, Train.
I exist.
He's not touchy on that subject, is he? You think?
I confuse people
All right.
a lot of times because my beard usually has a lot of gray in it. But when I dye it black, you know, people are like, what are you, 30 or something like that? And then they treat you with like less respect.
Yeah. I think
I dye
there's-
my hair purple. Trying to
Okay,
get
I'm gonna get-
possible.
I'm going to give you this right now. Train, I identify with you. This is my natural hair color. Okay. This is it. My sideburns are snow white.
Yes. Yep.
Snow
My whole
white.
chin,
I got
and it's
all
sprinkled
salt,
over here.
no pepper. So I have to dye them, but I don't dye my hair. You know, I don't understand that. That's God's playing a funny joke on me.
You know,
But-
same here. My hair goes to here, but the little bit I have grows so damn fast. I have to shave daily.
Hey,
So, yeah.
that's part of life. You know, you just deal with it. And, you know, I've been on shows where you've seen the snow white sideburns, but
Oh, yeah.
I'm being the stylist now. So,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, there's certain little things you got to keep up. I
But-
left a
yeah.
little bit of gray splotch there just so you know I'm old enough to not fuck with. But
Yeah.
other than that,
But
yeah.
but you know what? There is something to be said about that, gentleman. You know, because like you know, when someone's very young, when they're in their 20s and whatnot, let's face it, are they taken seriously for the most part?
Right.
No, absolutely not.
No.
You know, even at
No.
30, yeah, you haven't lived enough yet. So there's something to be said about that. That you know, when you gain wisdom, you know, it really does change things. It changes
Yeah.
how people receive you, how they trust you, et cetera, et cetera. And you can see it, you know, when I was 21, you know, I thought I knew it all.
Mhm.
And, you know, looking back now, I mean, which wasn't very long ago, yeah, you know, it's just baffled that I would even think that I knew anything.
Oh,
So,
yeah. I'm the same.
you know.
Even in my 30s, you know, it was like things I thought in the 30s were so stupid compared to me having more wisdom in life now, you know, being 47 and,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah, but in the Bible, they say the gray hair shows wisdom. And I'm
Mhm.
listening to Killer Cameron. Rico, you mean the famous chops are gray? What a travesty.
what a trap.
I'm like, yeah, but when I was wrestling, they were real. I didn't have to dye them. But
Now,
now,
did you notice like when they go gray, do they get stiff on you? Like they almost like needles?
no, I've never had stiff beard. I've
Yeah, see,
always
mine,
it's
as soon
just
as it
like my
left-
hair.
soon as the melanin left, it just like it left hay behind or some shit like that.
No, they're still soft, and you know,
oil
because I would
mine.
know. But you know, back when I wrestled at 40 to 44, 45, yeah, that was my natural color. And now I'm 63, going to be 64. And I guess God said, well, we're going to show your wisdom through your face. I guess. So, I mean, if I grew it all out, I could be Saint Nick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's white, you know.
And mine just looks patchy as hell. So it's, yeah.
No, everything's same color, silver.
Kenny, your mic.
But at least I don't have patches. You know.
Yeah, see, that's where I'm.
That's
if I let it go,
the beard grows totally white. The mustache is black and white, and the hair is just naturally purple.
All this gets
naturally
too. Thank you,
family.
Yeah, but
No,
I
think it's Kenny. I think it's Kenny that would be 83. Chicago Sun. Chicago Sun, you got a lot of shit in tonight. Have you donated?
I think your microphone is not working, Kenny, or it's not the one in front of you anyway.
I heard him this last bit. He said,
"Hang on,
working, but it sounds like you're in an echo."
Yeah, he's off.
Hang on, I gotta switch mics then.
Do all that stuff there.
Yeah, hang on.
Man, you're having more technical problems than any of us. What's going on? Is that a sign? Is that an omen, Dad?
He titled this video "The Invasion," and he got it.
I did do that.
Yep. Hey, Amir, send that other virus.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to click it right now.
Virus.
There he goes.
Is that any better?
Bertha Faye, as you've never seen her before.
No, it's not better because we can hear you now. It's not better.
Hey, let me tell you something, motherfucker. For what your ex-girlfriends tell me, it's not only your beard that doesn't get stiff.
Ooh.
Thank you to Randy Satterley for your $35 donation. Thank you to Dr. Bill Irwin for your
The master loved that one. The master said, I can't talk that way to him.
Americo, a $35 donation. Michigan Mike with 35. Jazzy Jana with 35. Zach Bonifer with $15. TC from the NC, $10 donation.
From the
OG Abraham with a weird last name, $50. Daniel Lindley, $15, but none of that compares.
He donated $50. I mean,
well, he said he had a weird last name, and he even said in the code, "Don't worry about trying to."
Your name's a little weird for crying out loud.
Doofenson Jack.
That first name that's pretty weird. Doofenson.
Bob is not that weird. And thank you, Cameron, Lou Jimmy LeBeau, for your biggest donation of the night. $200 donation. Biggest donation of the night.
Rico doesn't want to over money.
It's time for Kenny to go to Arby's now. So, thank you to our sponsors, Barano's Pizza.
Yeah, let's thank the sponsors while we're here. I could be at Royal's Chicken tomorrow. There's a very good chance.
Royal's Hot Chicken, McDonald's, and Arby's, all providing for the King's banquet.
Just had some Arby's a few days ago, and just wrapped up on a couple of fish sandwiches. Had that Market Fresh turkey sandwich with 79 grams of protein. By the way, I have received $200 of free protein shakes recently due to fuck up some delivery stores. We appreciate it. They brought me the wrong brand. So
thank you for messing up stores.
Instacart refunded me $200 over the last 2 weeks because of they brought me the wrong brand of protein shakes. So
what do you know about Carrabba's, King?
What do I know about them? They're good.
Yeah, they're delicious. Well, I know that, but you're not Italian.
Well, I'm not black either, but I know they had a rough life.
Kenny Bolino.
Oh my God, Train, help me out here.
I'm not Mexican, but I know my brother is a racist bitch. So.
All right, we'll be
so
back
quick
on
with
Thursday. This train has derailed.
Speaking of which, new show tomorrow on my channel at Jaded Zen.
At Jaded Zen Entertainment. Be sure to go and subscribe. Watch that show. Hit the subscribe button.
There you go.
Go to at Victoire Podcast. It's in the chat. Go there. Hit the subscribe button. Watch every single show.
Just did.
Especially the ones styling with Rico.
And if you had a good
And the
time, you can
Master
donate after
Emir.
the show. As you can tell, we got some families that are really needing some help out there, especially the Ye Ying's family. That poor little girl. So they're going to be getting some more money tonight. We're already paid for a couple of beds. We're going to order some more. We're going to get a tarp. We're going to at least get a tarp on that roof, and we're going to try and improve that interior quite a bit too. And as a matter of fact, I would like to dedicate a show just for them. Maybe not this week, maybe next week. Maybe get some stars back on the show, but maybe even Rico.
Do it marathon style like Jerry's kids.
Well, we could do that. I'm up for it.
Hey,
Whatever
it
takes. Man.
I did 3 or 4 shows with Jerry Lewis Telethon when I was younger. Yeah. It was at Caesar's Palace. And I dressed up as the Roman gladiator, with the gold here, the gold and the gold boots and the helmet with the red. And we stood out front all day, about 12 hours, and took pictures with tourists as long as they threw money in a giant, huge fish bowl. And they'd throw their money in and we'd take pictures. There was about 3 or 4 of us that would do it because there were so many people that came up. And at the end of our shift, we brought that big bowl onto the stage and presented it to Mr. Lewis. And they counted it and gave the total later. Yeah, I did. I donated my time for about 3 or 4 years for Jerry's kids.
Cool.
There was somebody that brought up Jerry Lewis's name the other day about there's some TV. Has anybody ever seen Severance? I haven't. I've seen like one episode.
No.
I don't think it's my type of show, but it does very well. And somebody said they wish Jerry. It was Nathan Lane. Nathan Lane was on Stephen Colbert last night, or was it Seth Meyers? He was on one of them. He's been on both recently. But he said he wished Jerry Lewis were alive so he could interact on Severance, saying some of the names of the characters on Severance and only the way Jerry Lewis could do it. And needless to say, I never did. You get to meet and interact with Jerry Lewis very much? Because that's something special.
Well, yeah. I mean, we brought the bowl. It was formal, but he thanked us and stuff like that, and we went off, and then he would do something and count the money. But he was always nice to me. I know.
How much when you dumped the money in the bowl? How much did Jerry Lewis put in his pockets? How much loose change did Jerry put in his pockets?
How do I know that?
Well, you could knowing how you manage money, Rico. I would say you could listen to the jingle as he walks and tell him to the penny how much he had in his pockets.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have any jingles in his pockets while he was on stage.
Well, if he wasn't jingling, then he was dingling, and I like that. Real quick, I got one more thing I want to get in real quick because Cam Moron had a very special night last night. One of my high school friends, Tim, we'll leave it at Tim because I don't know how much he reveals his real name. But Tim took me to dinner. I have not seen Tim in person in roughly 30 years. And we all went to dinner at El Mariachi's last night. They're not a sponsor, but I wish they were. They're a very good Mexican restaurant between Crestwood and where I live. So it was a good neutral place to meet. And Tim wanted to pay for me and my son's dinner. And I told him I'd like to have Cameron come with us. And he said, well, I'll buy his dinner too. So there were reasons that it all worked out good for that. But Tim worked for the CIA for 12 years. He graduated college probably in 1982, 1983. And he worked, he was hired under the Reagan administration, also worked for the first Bush, and also worked for a couple of years under Bill Clinton. He had such amazing stories last night of his CIA days. And I told Cameron, I said, Cameron, when are you ever going to sit down with a CIA agent and have him buy your dinner, and then you go out and pull a stick out from underneath his car? Because he had a stick stuck under his BMW. And Cameron went out there and yanked that stick out from under his car while the two of them lifted the car to get up into there to get the thing. It was something to see. But Cameron was so excited. He wrote me today. He looked up some stories about when Reagan got shot. And that guy's name was Tim, the guy that got shot protecting Reagan. But it was not the same Tim. Our Tim did not take a bullet for Ronald Reagan because that would even be a better story. But a lot of what you did in your past, Rico, was kind of like being a CIA agent, right? You would agree?
Yes, but for the private sector. I wasn't in
for the private sector, yes.
Anymore. Yeah, you were you had to take a bullet. If a bullet was coming, you had to take it. That was your
your job. Yeah, that was your job. Well, that was his. That was his.
And I've told stories on our podcast, styling of a couple of things that went wrong.
His name was Rico, Cameron.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Rico was in the Gladiators, his name was Rico.
Oh, Cameron. Yeah. No. I was a contender. I went up against Turbo, Laser, Thunder, Nitro, Gemini.
I watched all those shows.
Yeah. So I was a contender. I was like you and I, trying to see how we measured up to the Gladiators. And I was the 90-91 champion.
Who was the nicest gladiator? I know Bob's in a hurry to get out of here. He's trying to wrap everybody up, and I'm not letting him do it. Who was the nicest gladiator? Who was the biggest dick?
Nicest gladiator was Gemini. Mike Horton was his name. He played for the New England Patriots, and we respected each other. He was like 260 pounds. And he and I fought each other on the joust. We fought each other. And when I faced him in the semifinal round, he had never lost. And I knocked him off the platform. And he gave a nice...
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. And Larry Zonka brought it up because after I won...
By the way, take a look at that right there. I got it back up here on camera where you can see it. Give me the full camera. But if he's going to drop Larry Zonka's name, might as well show him who it is. 39.
There it is. 39. That's him.
39. Larry Zonka for the Miami Dolphins. Bob got me that picture quite a while ago. That is a couple of pictures of Larry Zonka. Bob Greasy, number 21. Does anyone know who that is? I'm anxious to see a couple of pictures of Don Shula. Mercury Morris was number 22. Larry Zonka, number 39. Jake Scott was number 13. Marino was number 13. Bob Greasy was number 12, played for Purdue Boilermakers, by the way. Who's number 21? I'm anxious to see. And
what happened?
You just fell out.
I don't know. So who can tell me who number 21 for the Miami Dolphins was without looking it up?
Was it a receiver?
No, he was running back.
I was 21 to running back.
I was born in England, so I have no idea. I excuse myself.
I was born in America, but I know who the Queen of England is. So stop.
Okay,
wow.
Jim Kick.
That's the same thing.
Jim Kick. Did you just guess that?
No, Chicago Sun.
Someone said it. Chicago Sun knew. I think I already now know who Chicago Sun is. So,
it's Jim Kick.
Yeah, Jim Kick. That's correct. and he looked it up. He didn't know. He did not.
That name wasn't on my radar, and I'm a fan.
Yeah. I will always remember.
You like the Dolphins too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I will always remember Jim Kick, Zonka, and Warfield. Or no, not all
Warfield. Number 88.
Warfield, 88. Mercury Morris, and Kick leaving for the XFL or whatever it was, or USFL. USFL. Yeah.
That Trump was an owner of back then, wasn't he?
I think he owned the New York team.
That is another business that Trump killed. Now Miami was famous for the 53D back then. The 53D. What was his name? See how quick Chicago Sun is on this without looking it up. Miami had the 53D. What was his name? Who was number 53? I have a
guess. I don't remember for sure. But
take a guess. Take a guess.
Nick Buonacani.
No, that was 85.
I started watching during the Marx Brothers.
Boy, it's amazing how my memory kicks in when we start talking Dolphin history. Yeah, Nick Buonacani was 85.
That's an odd number for a linebacker.
Mm-hmm. I didn't hand out the numbers.
That's a wide receiver number.
Kind of is, isn't it? Yeah. No, Nick Buonacani was 85.
Or they got all over the place.
See, Chicago Sun's looking at shit up. He does not fucking know that. 53 was Bob Mathewson. And I also know who Chicago Sun is right now, too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Be careful, Chicago. You don't have a badge. You haven't donated. Chicago, I want you to donate right now. Chicago.
Christy Mathewson, former New York Giant pitcher. That's who it was.
We need an $11 donation on PayPal to get me to a place where we can do $11 more to get us in a pretty good spot to do some.
All right, people, let's go. $11. I don't care.
11 measly dollars on PayPal. Come on, Chicago Sun.
2 5.5.
You donated dick all night. And you're taking up 80% of the show, Chicago. Don't be a dick.
11 ones.
Oh, he's old like you, Bob.
Well, that's possible.
Well, being old didn't help anybody in here except me.
I'm old.
Took my Predigen tonight.
I'm old-ish.
$11. Who's good for $11? Somebody in here say it right now. We need $11 on PayPal, and that'll get us round us up to a number. Let me do a couple more cool things because I'm already giving enough of my money away.
I was going with Zonka. Where was I going with that? Help me out.
He was the host. He was the host of Gladiators and one of my fucking heroes. Man, I was so jealous.
Yeah.
And I obviously didn't know who the hell you were when you were doing Gladiators, and then you show up at OVW. And you're working alongside Mike Adamley, a famous Chicago Bear, if I remember correctly. Yep. And Larry Zonka.
Bad go of it on the wall, didn't
Zonk and I, we clicked. You know how I rock, and Kenny, you know it, and the world knows it. I rock to think things out.
And you used to get heat for that in the OVW locker room because people didn't know why you were doing it, but you couldn't help it. It was just what you did. Yeah, I wish I had that because I might not have such a big stomach if I'd done that for the last 40 years.
Yeah. And Zonka, I remember because, Gladiators is a 10-hour day. It's a whole day. Oh. And to film one show.
10 hours.
So, they would, back then, the Contenders didn't have a locker room like they did later. We would sit under the bleachers where the people sat. And before your event, they give you a 5-minute cue. Okay, Rico, you're up. 5 minutes joust, 5 minutes Powerball, whatever, the wall, whatever. And Zonka used to always come and get me, and he'd see me rocking. And he came up to me and he goes, I know why you do that. He goes, I do.
Oh,
and,
really?
Yeah.
Zonka does that?
Yeah, that's
I would never guess that in a million years. I'll be damned.
And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I used to do it because I was embarrassed of it. And finally I went, this is what helps me get through things. And I don't care. I rocked in public. I didn't care what anybody thought because I was, especially in OVW, I was trying to do something and I needed to be my best at all times. So Zonka saw it, and he's the one that referred to me during the shows. This is Rockin' Rico. But
Rockin' Rico.
So
and
people thought,
you concentrate. Is it the?
Yes, I concentrate. I go through, like with OVW, I go through the matches. When I was with Gladiators, I'd see myself through the event. It's kind of like when you're preparing for martial arts. You see it, you see what you're doing, you figure out problems. If he does that, you do this. You put all scenarios in your head. So when you go out to compete, you're already been there in your mind. And like I tell on my show, Styling, my motto is what your mind can conceive, your heart can achieve. And that's my motto. It's been my motto my whole life.
Nothing wrong with that.
So I put it in my mind first. And when my mind gets it, my heart gets it, and then I achieve it.
Well, real quickly, because we've all been here for a good amount of time, but we've had a very successful night tonight, to say the least. But I do want to point out and talk about one last thing before we go. Who all here saw the John Cena Cody Rhodes promo that opened up Monday Night Raw in England last night? Who has seen it in its entirety?
I have not yet. I
watched it yesterday.
You have to fucking see this. Okay. Because it was and Bob will hear me brag about my promo cutting ability on just about every show. If anyone wants to give me a subject, give me anything. Bob is can he cut a promo on an ink pen? And I thought it was a pretty good promo on an ink pen on a number 2 lead pencil. John Cena used to have these things he would do in promo class. The promo that those two did last night, and I'm going to point out ahead of time for you marks that thought you knew what was going on. You thought that John Cena was in there intentionally trying to totally bury Cody Rhodes. No, he was not. He was in there doing business, because I know this because I'm the one that fucking taught him how to do it. He was in there doing business, doing what he's known for. And how you make shit real is that you give just enough reality to make them believe every fucking thing else you say. And that's exactly what he did. He went in there because Cena cuts his promo, and then I'm sitting there thinking to myself, poor Cody. He has to fucking follow this. But Cody did masterful work with what he had to do, and he stayed within the character of what he's supposed to do. Cody was masterful at what he did. He didn't try to overload it. He didn't try to do too much. He did exactly enough to sell fucking tickets and make people want to see this match. John could have gone even further and done more had he wanted to personally hurt Cody Rhodes. That was not what John was doing. And for those of us that know John, those of us that know what wrestling is about, and many of you don't because y'all kept saying that John was in there personally trying to hurt Cody. No, he was not. He was doing fucking business. And for those of us that know him, like Rico will see what he's doing. It is, I wrote my son right after I saw it because he saw it early. I didn't see it till maybe 2 hours before Raw was over because it was already up on Cody. It was one of the best promos I have ever seen to do business, to sell tickets, and to tell a believable story. Yeah, there was a lot of shit in there that sounded like it was meant to be hurtful both ways, and that's how you do business. That's how Memphis used to do it. Memphis would tell just enough truth. Well, that was true, so this, and this were true as well. Because why would you say this and then that not be true? It was the hook. I told my son, I do not, and I've said this about Paul Heyman before. I'll see a Heyman interview and I would say, I don't have the ability to do that. I think I'm pretty good at what I do. Even at age 65, I can still do a pretty good job, in my opinion. I don't have the ability to do what John Cena did 3 nights in a row, to do 33-minute promos, or 3 shows in a row, roughly 33-minute promos, one of them by himself, and not lose the audience. Kenny, you're opening the show. Go out there and give me 33 minutes and don't lose everybody. That ain't easy. That is not easy, but he did not lose anybody. And then last night, when my son was thoroughly impressed with it, I said, okay, all right, there must be something to see here. And I wrote him back. I said, I am not capable of doing what he did. It was amazing promo. I'm anxious for y'all to see it. I don't know if
the great part about it was that Cody, I mean, I've seen Cena do promos like that before, and he's buried the guy. He buried Roman.
Well, who's the guy? We had somebody that said he was going to be the face of the company, and he because he's done it to 2 people. He did it to
he did it.
He destroyed Austin Theory, and he meant every word he said. He meant to hurt Austin Theory.
He destroyed Roman a few years ago.
He destroyed Roman a few years ago, and then he also got Sikoa. Solo, yeah. He got Solo. He lit his ass up too. And those were different promos. He wasn't doing business with those guys.
Well, and
but he was doing business with Cody.
Cody held his own. That's what made this different. Cody fed back as much as he got.
And John. he was designed to hold his own.
Yeah, it was a terrific promo. Best promo I've seen in a long, long time. Not
I felt bad that Cody had to follow that, and then Cody did an excellent job. And here's where I was going with this totally. I am so fucking proud of what we did at OVW for whatever little bit I had to do with anything, or Cornette or Danny Davis or anybody. We've had Rico. And then you look at the guys that are Bull Buchanan's, the Sly Turkeys, that were up there either a few months or a few years. But when you look at still who's there, and then sometimes I forget about Wade Barrett, who does a hell of a job at the broadcast booth. And then you got somebody I've been critical of because he hasn't, I think he's had ample opportunity, is Drew McIntyre. But Drew McIntyre's OVW boy, Wade Barrett OVW boy, The Miz. CM Punk gave a shout out to Louisville. I can't remember gave a shout out to Louisville the other day. And I'll be the first to say Punk was established before he got to Louisville. We groomed Rico, we groomed Cena, we groomed various others. Brock Lesnar, Batista. Yeah, we groomed those guys, even though a couple of them don't want to give us too much credit. Shelton Benjamin. Who probably should still be on that roster. Carlito. But Punk was kind of who he was when he got here, but he was still kind enough to give a shout out to Louisville. And I thought that was pretty cool. But he might have did that to kiss Jimmy Cornette's ass too. That's also a possibility. But I'll be the first to tell you.
I know we're ending. Check your PayPal. See if somebody stepped up.
Uh-oh. Let's see. Oh, there it is. There it is. As a matter of
Who did
fact, there's two. We got two donations that came in here to cover that $11. Both of them are on this. Both of them are on this panel.
What?
What?
One of you did 11, and the other of you did 12.
Wasn't the train?
No, I didn't do anything.
Train comes in on
I'm
Thursday.
on camera.
Look at the train disassociating himself from donation. What?
No.
Don't blame me.
You looked at me. I've been on camera the whole time. When am I punching?
All right. Well, somebody that you know then. Bobby Bangs. Bobby Bangs with 11. And that Rico Costantino guy again, $12 more.
Good dude.
So that gets us to where we need to be.
Now read my note, Kenny.
Oh, hang on. Well, probably tell me not to mention you did it, but
No.
Not from Emir.
Thank you, Bob.
Coltrane went into a Schultz mode. Coltrane goes, I sent nothing.
Oh, that was Hogan's Heroes for all the people who don't know
Heroes.
who Schultz
What a
is.
fucking show. What a fucking show.
Oh,
and
yeah.
by the way, Coltrane
Would you whoopies?
Coltrane
Yes, you
did,
do.
after a long absence, Coltrane did make a $100 donation recently. So we ain't going to give Coltrane too much shit because he stepped up and did a $100 donation not long ago. And of course, the Tea Maker was in here, did 200 about a week ago.
Thursday.
And knew that we had a lot of people. I wasn't doing shows. We hadn't done a shows in a little bit. And Tea Maker knew we needed some help. And then he filled in and helped us get some people taken care of.
All right. Tomorrow night, Jaded Zen Entertainment, their first show in a while. They're coming back live.
How long you been down? How long's it been?
God, about 9 months probably.
Is it really 9
Giving
months?
birth to a new show.
I was going to say you could have impregnated somebody.
Who knows? You might have.
Sunday,
Sundays coming up.
maybe that's why he was
You
down
guys-
the 9 months. Yeah,
You guys drop your shows on Sundays or Mondays?
Actually, it's live on Wednesday.
Not you.
And we drop
Not
another
you.
one on. Oh,
The
damn, yeah.
I already talked about you.
It's all about
Moving on.
Somebody
Sound
hit
with
the
Rico
shocker
drops
on
on
Train's
Mondays?
shirt. Somebody hit
Bob,
the shocker on Train's shirt.
Yeah.
Bob, do we have a total for donations tonight?
400. Well, let's see. With the 12,
not a
we've
bad
got
night.
$457.
Wow.
So let me take out
Well,
5%
thank
for the
you.
people. I did pretty good.
Yeah.
you did all right.
Thanks, Cameron.
You got to feed the trolls something while you're here. You got to give the trolls what they want.
I just got a text from Cory Booker. That's nice.
Oh, they
I'll
were mad
quote-
how much I made on my birthday. Like I
Is he still
pocketed all
going, by
of
the
it.
way?
No, he just
Hey,
Coltrane. Go
I
ahead.
gotta quote
Electric
Billy.
Boogaloo.
I gotta quote Billy Gunn.
All right.
Good press or bad press, it's still press.
It's still press.
Somebody
It's
is
still-
taking the time to watch
Yeah.
you,
Oh, there's a few of those.
and then they're gonna comment. Okay,
yeah.
well, who wins? You win because you're on their mind.
We
It's
won
still
because
my
they
name,
said some hateful shit and they don't have a podcast anymore. So we definitely won.
There you go.
'Cause they said
That's all
shit
that
they shouldn't
counts. And
All right.
you are helping those families in the Philippines. And I'll tell the audience, Kenny sends me the receipts he
I sent
sends
Rico
over
the
there.
receipts, yeah. Mhm.
So
And Jazzy Jana and Randy Macho Man and
Yeah.
He's not
Jana.
savvy enough to make them up. Trust me.
I am not. I am not. But
So-
I have been accused of making fake receipts. Yeah.
He
Okay.
can't do that at all. He can't.
you're welcome, Randy.
And Randy,
Look,
glad
you
you
can
enjoyed
log
the
into
show.
his computer.
Oh,
folks.
by the way, when Randy and Matthew came down, guess who called here? Because Randy came down and bought the John Cena picture for the 150, and he's going to be paying for that later this week. I trust him; he's been a good
Oh,
donor to the
he's gonna
show.
be paying
No,
for it
I trust
already.
him. Guess who called him and thanked him for buying that picture? John Cena Sr. called him here in the living room. I want to get that out and talk to my cousin Matthew and Randy. Talked to him on the phone. He was getting ready to marry some people. And I said, hey, man, I got a couple of guys here that come here and bought some autographed pictures. One of them bought the Cena picture. And he called here in the process of doing a wedding and said, man, put him on the phone. Let me thank them for what they did. and he spent, God, I guess 10 minutes talking with the guys and on the phone. And he didn't have to do that. He could have sent a text, tell them thanks. No, he called here and talked to those guys, and it just made their day that John Cena Sr. took the time to call them. And then he told them to get fucked for some reason. I don't know what that was about. Call took a horrible turn.
Took a hard left turn.
I remember my cousin Matthew says, yeah, I used to be a big fan of your son, but not anymore. And I think he said, well, fuck you then, bitch. Get out of Bolin's house.
And then he goes and marries two people.
He goes and marries a couple
And then he goes and marries two people.
That is what do you call it? That is
Oxymoron.
A little bit of irony there. All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Bolin Services.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, boy.
Rico.
Oh,
the
no.
first ever
That
promo
ugly guy.
picture of the three of us. That's the first promo picture we ever did.
Long torso.
Yeah. Oh,
That
look
is
at
a
that
long
mullet.
Hey, you were rocking it, man.
That's the gladiator mullet. That's the gladiator mullet right there.
That was such a great mullet. I called it a moulet.
I still love that picture because that was our first ever promo picture that we did that we would sign at some of the towns every now and then when they would let me, because as a heel we weren't allowed to do that, but when I was neutral they let me sign some of those pictures, and you and Cena were nice enough to sign a few of them. And that's a special picture to me because that's the first one we ever had put together by the internet cocksuckers. Pam and Clark made that picture.
That's what they called themselves?
They called themselves the internet cocksuckers because they called in on WHS radio when me and Rico were down there promoting some shows, and Pam and Clark called in and said, I think we can be a help to OVW, and they took over our website. And out of that came that promo picture for me, Rico, and Cena. But yeah, me and Rico were doing a appearance on WHS radio, which is 50,000 watts, gets into 38 states at night. So that helped put us on the map too, because WHAS loved having us on. And the big one is it was the WLW of Louisville. Probably KDO. What's your big AM station there in Dallas, Bob?
WBAP, KRLD were the two big ones. WBAP was the big 820, 50,000 watts.
I was on a KDKF or something like that. Me and Cornette did a show there.
KDKA was
KDKA. Yeah, me and Cornette did a show there, and that's when I revealed what his middle initial was. And I said, well, I don't know if we can do that, Eugene. Don't call me Eugene. So the next town we go to is in Broken Bow, Oklahoma. Eugene. So we gave them a name to call him. And in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, they were calling him Eugene. So that's how far that station got out to give Jimmy grief over the name of James Eugene Cornette. Because no one knew what the E stood for.
Come back on Thursday, you bastards.
Bastards.
I think OVW gave us a little looser rein, even though we were heels. Yeah. Because we weren't supposed to do it, and you know how Cornette felt about it. We weren't supposed to do any of it, but we were out doing promos for the show as heels. And getting people
and we were the only ones that could get by with that. And plus you were doing appearances at hospitals. Rico got mad at me once because I had a lot of his merchandise in the trunk of my car. He said, well, tell that story real quick and then we'll wrap it up.
All right, what happened
was why you were mad at me that I had your merchandise in the trunk of my car.
Your caddy. I get to OVW, and this is when I'm a face. He's the heel, and he says, I can promote you. And I'm like, okay. So I give him all this promo shots and stuff like that. And a month or two goes by, and we're leaving.
We're
and
down
he
by
opens
the river at Kingfish.
We're at Kingfish, and he opens his trunk, and there's all my stuff scattered around. I'm like, hey, you said you were going to promote me. How can you promote me from a trunk? And he says, no, it's not like that. And then he went into a big explanation and explained it. And
that I promote you and everybody else out of the trunk of my car.
Out of the trunk of your car. Then I understood it. But I thought he was catfishing me. That's what I thought. Yeah. He was catfishing me.
I catfished Rico. That's what I did. That's how I taught him. But no, because and that's when Rico and I formed a very strong friendship, was at Kingfish on the river that night. when you were a face and I was a heel, and nobody's been able to break us up since.
Nope.
2 ships passing in the river.
I'm going to give that joke a very slight chuckle at the bottom.
Yeah.
What joke?
Cameron trying to be funny again.
Yeah, comedy's hard. Comedy's hard.
Thanks
to wrestling, Cameron. Wrestling.
That's enough to hear that cough in the background.
Recently had his car backed into by a truck driver, so he's in a rental mobile right now.
Catfishing you at Kingfish. What irony! Yeah,
Catfish and Kingfish. That sounds like a mini series of 6 episodes to me.
Catfishing the Kingfish. There you go.
I don't tell this story a lot, but I'll tell it here. What Bolin did to me at the Kingfish.
I did. What you did for us.
Yeah, he did. Well, we go to the Kingfish, and there's several of us, and we order a whole lot of food.
It's Timmy John's birthday, isn't it? November the 5th?
I think so, yeah.
Because Tim's with us, yeah.
Uh-oh, Chicago Sun. He's already on top of it.
Serenade, wasn't it?
No. What happened, we had this 3-digit.
Now I definitely know who that is.
Okay. So we get this 3-digit bill, and, King takes care of everything, and okay. Well, I guess, I don't know what you thought, but I think this was out of your league. And he says, Rico, you got to take one for the team.
The manager came up to me and told me what it was going to, because we knew we were going to get a big discount. We knew that. Yeah. And it was me, you, Timmy John, and maybe a couple other people. And then the manager comes up to me and she's got the receipt. She says, well, this is what the bill is now. She says, I can lower this dramatically. I said, how's that? She pulls me aside. She says, I go back and tell Rico. I said, Rico, we can lower this bill dramatically.
Tell her what she said.
Well, hang on. I'm getting to that.
Okay. All right.
I said, well, I think we're going to get Rico to do that. So I go back to Rico and put my arm around and say, Rico, here's what the bill is. That's a pretty big bill. We can make this drop dramatically if you do something for me. I said, here's what you got to do. So I whispered to him, he's, all right, King, I got it. So her and Rico go behind some plants and bushes back near the bathroom and get Kingfish. Back her 5 or 10 minutes. Next thing I know, manager comes out, big smile on her face, walks up to the table, slaps it down, 0, 0. And I was looking for half off or something, maybe 30%.
The legend was born that
was it that good? She says, come back anytime. Wow. And that was the manager at Kingfish, yes.
Hey, man, I got a couch out of that one time. So
I officially have checked out Rico at least once in his life.
I've been pimped.
For free fish and hush puppies.
Yeah. Hey. Do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do.
If it is a slump buster.
Good one for the team. And it's not like he had Kim Kardashian behind those plants. I mean, he took one for the team.
Slump busters need it too.
Slump busters?
Slump busters.
I hadn't heard that one.
Oh, yeah, that's a baseball term.
Kenny, who you with there? Is that your slump buster?
Well, no, if you have like a really bad streak, like you're not hitting, you're supposed to go like hit the biggest, gnarliest, nastiest stick you can find and bust your slump. So
the torpedo bat. She was Rico's torpedo bat.
Oh,
yeah, I guess so.
We won't be back at all ever again. We've been banned from YouTube for this.
Emir,
right, we will be back on Thursday. Tomorrow night, Jaded Zen. Be on the lookout for the next live episode of Styling with Rico, but be always watching for that content drop. They do some great stuff on that show. Subscribe. Hit subscribe on this show. Hit the like button. It does wonders.
Hit the bell that tells you when we're coming on.
Leave a thumbs up. All that crap. It helps with the algorithms, and the algorithms rule the world.
Yeah, they do.
That sounds like a T-shirt. Get working on that.
Algorithms rule the world. We'll be back on Thursday. Thank you, everyone, for your donations. We will let the
Thank you very much today. I know we helped a lot of families. Thank you so much.
And then I'm over to see you guys here real soon. Have we set the exact date yet? When is that?
For the live show, it'll be on Sunday. I think we said not this Sunday, the following Sunday, right, Rico?
Following Sunday, right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We'll special Sunday night edition. We'll have just as much fun over there. I promise.
All right.
Absolutely. But thank you for hosting us, guys. We appreciate it. And thank you for
Thank
everyone
you.
who
Well,
donated.
you helped us make some good money tonight. We appreciate it. Good viewership. Well, I think we peaked at 180. That's not a bad night. That's not a bad night.
I saw
Not on a
one.
Tuesday.
And we
Not on a
helped-
Tuesday.
Thank you, Rico. Thank you to the Master Emir, the Master Emir,
Thank
not
you.
just any Emir,
Thank you.
and not just any
The
master.
Get it right,
The
motherfucker.
Master.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't
Thank you very
need
much.
that.
Train-
5 memes. We're gonna get one. that
Train,
works.
good to see you.
You too, my brother.
Yeah, nice to meet you,
Stay
Train.
sharp. You're styling. Bob, always a pleasure to see you.
Love you guys.
Hey, Dad. Thank you so much for having
yes,
us on
son.
the show.
Thank you, Kenny.
Emir,
Anytime.
there you go.